Welcome to Horizon episode 19, a podcast empowering women to heal, overcome trauma, and embrace change. Through our community, we strive to inspire women to create a future where they lead with love, confidence, and courage, helping break boundaries and reach new horizons. Welcome, guys, to episode 19. Once again, we told you guys, I'm sure you watched episode 18 where we had Gloria Zamora, and we are back for episode 2. So we have her here.
Hi, we are back.
Thank you for coming back.
Thank you
we
for having
definitely
me.
had to get an episode 2.
I know.
I feel like that was
A lot.
for sure.
Literally a lot.
For sure. And that was just the first part of your life.
I know. I have so much more.
We have to get to the rest of it.
Yes.
Right? So let's see. We talked about your childhood, your upbringing, coming from a Mexican household.
Yes.
You being the first Mexican American in your household. You starting to break generational, what is it?
Curses.
Curses.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. And here we are. So tell me, how did you get into fitness?
I've always been like super active when I was in junior high. Not so much in high school, but like elementary, junior high, I've always did sports. I've always loved to be active. And then also with my grandma never drove. So everywhere we went was walking.
Okay.
We would walk for everywhere. And I'm not talking about like 2 blocks. We're walking miles.
Okay.
So I had already like been super active with that. And then I did like basketball. I did like volleyball. I did track a little bit.
Oh, you played sports. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I played sports. And then my brothers were also very active in sports. So I already knew that being active was like my thing. I like it.
Okay.
And then I also grew up being an overweight kid. You know, that was another part of my life too, where my grandma and my mom used to, I don't know why they had, or it's just a Hispanic. I talked to other Hispanic like people, and they also say like, I don't know what it was, but they would always overfeed us.
I feel like it's in our culture. Honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like my grandma would always overfeed us. You finish one plate, she'll be like, ten, otro plato, citas que comer, porque hay tantos niños que no tienen que comer y citas que comer.
And then I remember my mom would be like, te tienes que terminar todo porque
Yes.
hay otros, like you said, hay otros niños
Que no tienen que comer.
So I'm not going to lie. I grew up that way. I grew up to finish my plate. So
Yes.
I would overeat. So I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like I overate because of that. And then I overate also being like, grew up in a very like the abuse. Because even though it was like it was, they say like discipline, the type of discipline, if I look back to it, it was very abusive.
Okay.
You know, so I feel like all of that too had a lot to play with, like, you know, you're the only girl, you're not getting treated right. And then even when you're young, you notice like the difference. You notice even from like your friends, like how they're being treated with their families or their parents would treat them. And I would sit back and be like, damn, like my mom doesn't treat me like that. Like my mom is not nice, you know, like she's not gentle with me, like how my friends are with their parents are with them, you know? So you start seeing things like that. So I think at a young age, I started noticing like that I would like cope with overeating, like feeding, like overeating would like make me happy.
That was your comfort.
That was my comfort, like overeating, because I felt like, yeah, the food tastes amazing, right? And it feels good.
Yeah.
So I used to think, okay, I used to correlate like when I was stressed, overeat.
I think my thing, because I can relate to that for sure, was also it's the only thing I had control of.
Yes.
Without knowing at that age. But now, you know, reflecting back, it was the only thing that I was able to have access to without their Yes. But then there would be backlash to that as well.
Yes. Yeah. I would get bullied with my own brothers, with our own family members, like how fat I was. And then my type of body was, I developed at a young age, like how we talked about.
Right.
You know, I was thick and curvy. Like I knew that my body attracted attention at a very young age. Okay. I knew that. I remember being like, you know, I was in this Catholic school, but obviously in the playground or everywhere because remember, I would walk everywhere. So either if my mom didn't pick us up from school, I would walk home or I would walk from my home to the morning to school because it wasn't too far.
Right.
And me just walking around even in a Catholic schoolgirl outfit, I caught attention. So I knew that at a young age, like, okay, my body's different from these other girls. Like, I don't look skinny like these other girls, that they're just skinny, straight, no curves. Okay. And I knew that I had thick legs, that I was thick and curvy with the butt, like, and I knew that it attract attention from older men. Okay. So I knew that from a young age. And then, so when I gained all this weight, you know how some people, when they gain weight, they gained it in certain areas?
Yes.
Yo estaba gorda completa. Like, and then when I would gain weight, I would just get thick. It wasn't like a fat to where I was like fat everywhere. It was just gruesa, like thick everywhere. Okay. So I would get bullied from that. And then my brothers will call me, you know, like fat or family, which is normal. I know that family members, they do that. We bully each other or whatever. Yeah. But that shit, like, traumatizes you.
It does, especially when it's being done in multiple places at once.
Yes. Yeah. And then you see girls your age wanting to look like a young girl, like little, because even though I was young and I was thick and curvy and I had this body, I looked older. Like, I look back to some of my pictures, I'm like, damn, I was like 10 years old, but I look like I'm 14. I look like I'm 15.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, even guys will tell me, how old are you? I'll be like 12. You're not 12. You look like you're 15, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I look so much older when I'm younger than, like, I'm reversing in age, which is crazy to me because people don't even believe that I'm 40 and they think I'm younger. No. But then when I was younger, I look old as shit.
You're Benjamin Button. You're aging the other way for sure.
Literally. And so, yeah. So then I would get bullied. And then just one day I was like, I'm tired of being fat. Like, I'm tired of, like, not looking like the normal girl that's just skinny, petite. Like, I always call it, like, the white girl, thin girl. Right. You know, because that's what was in the 90s. Right. Like, you had to be super skinny because that was, like, the hot thing to do. Like, to be
when
skinny.
I think of the 90s, I think of Pamela Anderson.
Yes. Yeah. Or Paris Hilton type skinny.
Yeah.
That's what was in back then. Right. Like, you saw her and she was skinny and that was like, oh my God, I want to be skinny like that. You know, I remember I would wear like the most tightest jeans to just smash my ass in, smash my hips in, because I just did not want to be thick and curvy. I hated it. Yeah. I hated to be thick and curvy.
It wasn't something that was, that gave you confidence. It actually made you feel
like
out of
weird.
Place. Yeah.
Like I was, like I didn't fit into the norm of what these girls look like when I was a 7th grader, 6th grader, 8th grader. I didn't look like that. I looked like I was like this woman with this curvy body.
Yes.
You know, like I felt older. Like it was weird.
Well, you were what back in the day would be like you were a teenager with a woman body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like that. And then obviously being overweight, me miraba más grande, me miraba más voluptuous.
Right.
Like, you know, I looked so voluptuous at such a young age. So then I was like, yeah, I'm tired of being fat. Like, I need to do something.
So that brings me to my next question. You said that would bring you a lot of attention.
Yes.
Right? Undivided attention.
Yes.
You did share something with me.
Yes.
And I hope that we're okay to share that.
Yes.
You were abused.
Yes, I was.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can say...
You don't have to go into detail.
In detail, obviously, yeah.
Yes.
I think, you know, it does. It puts a girl in that age where you're like, you look like a woman, like, you know, that's what it is. And other people look at you a certain way, like, without even wanting, like, just the way that you look. Now, looking back, obviously, when you're young like that, you don't think about stuff like that. Right. You don't think about how other people look at you. Right. But obviously, certain men look at you like a sex object, right? Is that like the correct thing to say?
Yes.
Like they sexualize you.
Yes.
Even though at a young age, you don't even think about shit like that, you know? So yeah, like sexual abuse did happen to me, you know, and that was very unfortunate. And I held on to that secret for years. I didn't tell my mom until I was actually pregnant with my twins, like 9 years ago. You know, I just came up like, and I remember telling myself, I'm going to take this shit to my grave. Like, I'm not going to say anything. I will never say anything, you know, and I ended up telling her and she knows like who it was and everything. And that's all I care about. As long as she knew.
Yeah.
And then obviously for her, it was hard to hear that because she thought like, oh my God, I thought I was protecting you.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm pretty sure she thought like, holy crap, like I wasn't there.
Right.
I thought I was.
She had a lot of guilt.
Yeah, she had a lot of guilt and stuff. And then I ended up getting therapy for it, like after when I was like in my late 20s. Because when I got therapy at the time, it's crazy how a lot of your childhood like starts like just
coming up
out of nowhere.
Yes. Things that you never even thought.
No.
It's things that we bury deep inside that we never want to ever think about. But then it just comes out.
It just comes out. And then I just remember somebody telling me, like, you should get therapy. Like, don't be afraid to like get therapy, and you just need to let it out, you know? So I ended up going and stuff. And I remember asking her, like, why is this like hitting me like right now?
Right.
And she's like, did you know that your brain doesn't stop? Your brain doesn't stop growing till you're like 25 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she told me. She's like, so once your brain is done like fully developing, unfortunately, like a lot of these traumas start coming back to you. And she's like, and you just have to deal with it. And like just that, I literally only had like 2 sessions with her. And with those 2 sessions, I just knew like, okay, shit happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna dwell on it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna allow it to dictate on who I am or what I'm gonna become. It wasn't my fault, you know. It just fucking happened to me. Like, it's unfortunate. You know, me myself, I would dwell on it throughout the years. Obviously, certain situations that would happen that, like with my kids, for example, like I didn't like that if my ex-husband would shower them. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I'll shower her. Yeah. Like, she's a girl. I'm like, I don't think you should be doing it. Like little things like that. Yeah. And then my ex-husband would be like, you're crazy. Like, for you to think that I would ever do that to my daughter.
But it was your trauma.
It was my trauma.
Yeah.
And it would come up. Mm-hmm. It would also come up to where I'm pretty sure women can relate to when you have those type of experiences, it messes you up sexually. Like, to even be intimate a certain way with your partner. Like, just certain little things, like, you just can't, you know? So therapy helps with that, to where like you can't blame that person for this. So I think I needed to learn to be like, yeah, I don't like that. Don't come and look for me when I'm asleep, because that's trigger. Like, don't do that.
So you communicated and voiced what was comfortable and wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, because at first it would be like, why are you acting like that? Like, that's weird. Mm-hmm. So then I had to be like, okay, I need to tell him like what happened to me. So like that he's aware of things that I don't like. You know? Don't look for me when I'm asleep, because that's a trigger. Because that's mostly when that would have happened, when I would be asleep. Okay. You know, so then stuff like that. So that happened to me, which was unfortunate. I think just me being self-aware was like, yeah, that happened to you. It's not your fault. Just keep it pushing.
For sure.
Like, just keep it pushing. But that took years. You know, it took years. It didn't happen overnight. Yeah. It's just me just kind of like, I think also what also healed it the most was when I told my mom. I think when I told her, it was kind of something that I thought that I was going to take to my grave and just never talk about it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I talk about it in therapy. But I think talking to a family member, which is your mom. Which is the most like your parents, it's like, I think it was like a healing thing for me. Okay. Yeah, because I think she thought that we lived this perfect life, but little did you know, like,
this is what was happening
behind doors. And that's why I became so overprotective with my kids. You know, my older daughter doesn't realize it, because I think your kids, since they don't live what you live, they could never ever relate. No, because I can sit with them and tell them like, this happened to me and this happened to me, and this is why I'm trying to prevent you so that you don't go through all this crap. But then they will never understand, because until you actually live situations like this, they're gonna be like, hell yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can 100% relate. I know what that feels like. For sure. Because when I tell these stories, I can be crying to my kids and telling them all these things, and my kids are just like, okay, yeah.
And all you can say is like, but it was in me, and I want to be able to.
Yes, but that was one of my reasons why I was so overprotective with my daughter. I think with my oldest daughter, she got that raft of me of being like so overprotective, and me just watching, and me making sure that I was there and talking to her like, don't allow people to touch you, and don't be alone with. Even with her own dad, I wouldn't even want her to be alone with him. Like, it would be like, you're always going to be with me where I can see you. And if it's not me, it's grandma and nobody. Like, I got an obsession with it. I got an obsession with my kids of just being really overprotective. I think I would overdo it. If my older daughter was to be here and tell you, she would tell you, yeah. Even my older daughter, my 20-year-old and Jasleen and Natalie, I think they got the most, because then they're women. Yeah. You know, so I think they got the most of it, to where I was like, you're not having a boyfriend. you're not gonna be alone with no kid.
Yeah, you can't sleep over.
No,
yeah,
you can't sleep over. Yeah. And then when they did want us to start dating, I'll be like, I'm gonna talk to his mom. I'm gonna talk to his dad. I'm gonna
give me all
the details, and then they would tell me you're crazy. Like, and I'm like, no, it's because they need to know, like,
100%,
that you come from my house. And I'm going to protect you.
And I'm involved.
And if something happens to you, they have to make sure that they're going to know that I'm going to go knock on their door and I'm going to check you. I don't care who you are.
Right.
You know, so I always made that a point. And my daughters used to hate it. They hated that I would check whoever they were with, or I would ask questions or be super involved.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I even had family members tell me, like, you're crazy. You're doing too much. Like, why are you so involved? Like, just let them be kids. And I don't know why it was so hard for me just to allow her to have experiences. It was really hard.
Trauma.
Because of my trauma.
For sure.
It was just, I just couldn't let go. I couldn't. Till this day, even when my daughter moved out, it was like the hardest thing. But it was really hard. It was hard for me to just be that mom, to allow my kids to have a boyfriend, hold hands, like
have different experiences
than me. Like, when my daughter went to her first high school dance, it was like, oh my God, my daughter's she's gonna hold this kid's hand. Somebody, like, you know, you just start thinking the worst, like, oh my God, is she gonna have sex today? Like, no.
Yeah.
You know, and then my oldest daughter is dying to have experiences, dying to have these moments like these, how her friends were having. And And then, you know, she used to love to test me, and I would check her, and every little thing that she did, I'm like,
you're right behind her.
Right behind her. I would be on FaceTime with her when she would be walking home from school, because I'm like, I'm on damn sure I'm going to make sure that you go home. Like,
girl. I'm like, someone's going to pick you up. This is like nothing. My kids, definitely, I could say I relate to that, because my kids they didn't experience the struggles that we experienced. And I don't think that we have to allow our children to have and go through experiences, right? But I think what we're doing is we're making sure that we're teaching them while trying to avoid them.
Yes.
But at the same time, making sure that they make that decision as well. So I think for me, I've learned to let go of some control. Still, there's rules.
Yes.
There's things that I'm gonna require.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna give you a little bit more freedom, because for sure I understand some of that, being raised in a Mexican household with a single mom.
Yes.
And it being so strict, they put you in a box.
Yes.
But I feel like they don't understand that box. We're gonna come out of that box eventually.
Exactly.
And it's not gonna be what they were expecting.
Yeah.
And I think that with our children, we're learning to parent differently.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And yes, still be overprotective to an extent, but allowing them
overdo it. I would like literally overdo it. My kids would hate me for it. And I would always tell them, like, look, right now my job is to be your parent. I'm your protector. I'm your parent.
100%.
I would always tell my oldest, because she didn't give me that opportunity when she finally moved out. I didn't allow my kids to date. Like, my second daughter was so good. This is where kids are so different. They're never going to be the same.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, I mean, I'm the first, you were the only woman in your household. The only girl.
Yeah.
I was firstborn in mine, and definitely they're all treated differently.
Yeah.
You know, so we hold different responsibilities that, and the firstborn does. Like, I tell my daughter, you know, unfortunately, parenting doesn't come with a handbook, and me and you are going to go through a lot of things, and we're going to learn.
And she's your oldest, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We make a lot of mistakes. And she was like, Mom, you're right. And I was like, I'm sorry. And I try to apologize and be there, but I'm like, give me a break. I'm learning.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to rewire the way that I was brought up to make sure that I raise you different than I was. Because I don't want you to go through what I went through. But I also want you to have experiences that you should have without me putting you in a box, right? And that's hard to do for us.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I think I kept my two older daughters in a box. I really did. I kept them into a box.
Understandable.
Compared to the two, my oldest was very testy. She would test me, and if I would tell her you're not doing it, she'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to test you, you know? Yeah, just watch me. And my oldest, my second one, she was, you know, she says it like, I was terrified of you. Like, you know, your discipline was hard. You
instilled fear.
Yeah, I did. I instilled fear into her to where if she would do something and I told her, you know, or reprimanded her from it, she would learn from it and she wouldn't do it again.
But look at the difference in children. It's getting to know each child differently because they're all so different.
So different. Okay. So then my second daughter, I love that she would always listen to what I would tell her. Like, she would mess up here and there, but then like the whole boyfriend thing, I would tell her. My oldest daughter, she put me through a lot of testing in life as a parent. And I understand that because we were both young. I grew up with my daughter, you know, like I had to learn a lot of things, and I'm over here trying to hover and protect her and making sure. My biggest thing with her, I would always tell her, don't become a teen parent. It's the hardest thing in life. I do not want that for you.
Right.
Graduate high school. Those two things was like my main priority.
Right.
And I would always tell my kids, my older kids, her and then the 20-year-old and then my son that's 16, because obviously from their kids till they're 18, you're their full parent.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and I always tell them, like, right now I'm your parent. Once you become an adult, our relationship will change because now you're an adult. So obviously I can't treat you like a little kid.
Right.
You know, so my older daughter didn't really allow me to show her that second part of me because she decided to move out. Okay. But my second daughter did, to where we have that daughter-mother relationship, but to where it's different. I'm talking to an adult now. I'm not talking to a little girl.
Right.
And sometimes my 16-year-old will tell me, you and Natalie have like the best relationship. And I tell him, because you're still 16.
Yes.
You know, it's different parenting as you get older. I always tell my kids, like, slow it down. I remember like me being a mom at 16. I grew up so fucking fast.
You had no choice.
I had no choice. I had zero childhood, zero teenagers, zero 20s, because I had 3 kids by the time I was freaking 24 years old.
Right.
And I tell my kids, like, grow up slow. And
take your time. Yes. There's no reason to rush it. When we get older, it goes by so fast. You're going to get there.
Literally, I told my son the other day, do you realize that you're a teenager for such a short period of time of your life?
So small.
And then once you turn 18, from 18 till the time you're dead, like, you're an adult.
Right.
So from a year, and I always tell him, you only been alive for 16 years. Like, chill.
I love when you put it in that perspective. You've only been here.
You only been here for 16 years.
Yes.
It's not a long time.
Yes.
I was like, you're still a baby. Like, chill, bro. Chill. Like, just grow up slowly. Take
your time. Be a teenager.
You know, because he's like, he started a job and stuff. He was like, Mom, having a job is so hard. And I'm like, I would love to I would give anything in this world to have your problems right now.
Yes.
Because your age, I already had a kid. I was like, think about it. Do you see yourself with the kid right now at 16? He's like, hell no. I had a kid at your age. Do you believe that? Wow. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy. So
I'm sure that resonates with him when you put it that way, for sure.
Yeah, I always give him like another perspective. Like,
I love that.
You know, I was a mom at your age, and I had to hustle.
An amazing relationship with each one of your children.
I try to. I'm not the best, you know. We're not perfect as parents, you know. I had to like really. I think when my older daughter left, because I was still very possessive with my kids, like that's like my thing. Like, I'm so possessive with my kids. Like, I birthed you, I brought you to this world. Like, nobody's gonna mess with my kids.
I
like,
hear you. I hear you.
I love my kids like to death. You know, like, they're everything. And I think when my daughter left, because I was still, even she was 21, I still wanted to treat her like a little kid, and I was still not transitioning
and allowing her to be at the age she was at.
As an actual adult. So when she took the step to be like, I'm gonna choose my life, I'm an adult, I'm gonna move out, like, that crushed me. Like, I just thought to myself, goddamn, I became a mom at 16. I busted my ass. I took myself to school so that I can provide for my baby, be responsible, because I'm gonna be damned that I'm gonna be a loser ass mom and get a freaking $500 check once a month. Fuck that. That's not gonna be my life. Hell no. I'm gonna hustle. I'm gonna fucking make money. I'm gonna live the life that I want to live and be a good provider for my kid. And then for somebody just to come and
bye, Mom.
Yeah, and then she falls in love with somebody and somebody takes her. Te la quitan. Yeah. And that right there, this happened 3 years ago. That right there was life-changing for me.
Okay.
To where I was like, fuck, like, you need to pour into yourself. You can be a mom, you can be a wife, you can do everything, but your kids are literally going to become adults, and they don't talk about that part of parenthood. They don't talk about, nobody ever freaking told me how it feels when your kid goes on their first dance, when they get their boyfriend? How do you feel as a parent? I don't know if it's just me.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
Like, it's so life changing, like, those experiences, because you're like, oh my God, I don't want nobody to hurt my baby. I don't want nobody to, like, hurt their feelings. I don't want them to see, did I see my daughter cry when she had, like, these boyfriends and they would break her heart? Hell yeah, I want her to go wring somebody's neck for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So when she moved out, I was like, yeah, your kids are gonna move out, and you are gonna, who's gonna take care of you?
Yes.
Who's gonna watch out for you?
Yes.
Like, your kids are gonna do their life, they're gonna lives. Yes. They're gonna fall. We're
raising a future adults that are gonna literally do and create their own life. Yes, we're gonna be involved, but not how we have them at home.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's kind of like that. I that's why I love to reiterate. Excuse me, to really prioritize ourselves as mothers, because at the end of the day, and it's not being selfish,
no,
it's
not at all.
Being realistic about the situation. We're raising these children to be adults.
Yes.
And one day they're going to create their own family or go to college or whatever the situation may be. And we're going to be stuck alone. By ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like people need to look, like you said, and talk about, yes, we're living in the now, but at the same time, and we don't know what the future holds, but we have to be realistic of the situation. They're not always going to be home.
Yeah.
They will come back to home, and it's open for them to whenever, but then what?
Yeah.
Right?
Then it's like, where you left. Mm-hmm. Because your kids are not going to come and be like, hey, mom, remember about self-care? You got to take care of yourself. Like,
for sure, no.
They don't.
No,
they don't. You know, they're even when they're teenagers and whatever, they don't care about you.
No.
Like, you know, they know that mom loves them, mom and dad, whatever. They're going to look out for them until they become adults, because that's just how it is.
Correct.
You know, unless they're really out there, you know, fending for themselves, which is rare, because they're going to have somebody that's going to watch out for them until they become adults.
Right.
Even if they're in foster care, you still have somebody watching out for them.
For sure.
But yeah, nobody prepares you for when your kids actually become adults and they move out, and how impactful that was for me. That was super impactful for me.
So I took that
to heart.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
You did say, you know, it taught you to think of yourself.
Yes.
Right. And then going back into how you got into the workout, you told me you were always, you know, active. But I feel like, when did you actually fully start taking fitness, like, on a serious level?
When I got my cancer scare.
Okay.
I think that's when I really started to be like, damn, I really need to take care of my health. You know, and then that comes with, you grow up not knowing how to properly eat, how to properly work out.
Right.
Like, you don't know these things,
right.
You know, and then if you really don't do your research, or even like, when you go to physicals, like, you can be overweight. Does the doctor care about that? Fuck no, they don't care.
No, they just tell you're on this percentile, and
you're overweight, you're obese.
Yes,
you know, get on a diet.
Yeah,
like, that's about it.
Yeah,
you know. So I knew that I was overweight, and with my first husband, he was into fitness, like, fully. Like, this guy had a nice body. He took care of himself. He had a whole regimen. Like, he would wake up at 4 a.m. You know, eat your breakfast, go work out, come home, shower, go to work. Like, that's what I saw while I was with him. You know, he liked taking care of himself. And then I struggled, like how we go back, I struggled with my weight as a kid. So I noticed that after I had my kids, like, I would struggle with losing weight after having them. It was a true struggle. Like, and it would take me almost a whole year to lose that baby weight. But it's also because how we ate.
Yeah.
You know, you're being taught that when you're pregnant, you got to eat for 2. Cómete 2 platos porque estás embarazada. Y come para ti, para el baby, tienes que alimentarte, and blah, blah, blah. You know, so you have that mindset that you have to overeat because you're pregnant, and you have to have all these calories, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then even when you're pregnant, the doctors don't tell you, this is how you eat, this is how you're supposed to eat, stay active, you know. They send you to work every single day. They don't put you on disability when you're pregnant, but you're working every day. You're hauling ass, being pregnant, 9 months pregnant, big as hell, and you're still going to work every single day, but they don't teach you to stay active, to eat healthy, do all the things that you should be doing. So like that, when your bounce back shouldn't be as hard, because it shouldn't.
Right.
And I saw that growing up too. Like, I have older cousins that had kids way before me. And then with my grandma, hearing my grandma tell my older cousins, like, fájate, tuviste un baby, cuídate. Because my grandma would always talk about that. Like in 40 days, back then, these women didn't even go outside.
No, it was all inside.
It was all inside.
It was also back to like, no saques este niño hasta después de 30
40
días.
days?
Or
exactly.
40,
you couldn't even let the air hit you.
Yes.
You know, no, literally, my grandma would be like, no te bañes. I'm like, how am I not going to take a shower? Are you crazy?
Especially
like,
after just having a baby.
And you're bleeding.
And these diapers.
Like,
yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm showering.
Yes.
I'm sorry. But yeah, my grandma was like that. She's like, no te bañes, no te salgas.
Yeah.
Tápate y fájate. You know, a lot of women tell me, like, how is your stomach so flat? Because I've always wore a faja. I always, siempre me fajaba. It was a thing that was installed, and it was a thing that I saw with my older cousins when they had a baby. If you see all my girl cousins, they're all in good shape. And a lot of my cousins, we all have a big family, 4, 5, 6 kids. Me and my other cousin have 6 kids. And we all took care of ourselves. So I saw that. I saw that growing up. It was installed into us. I saw my grandma always talking about it. So I knew that I needed to take care of myself. But again, we weren't taught.
Right.
We weren't taught how to properly.
Yes.
My body frame was that if I don't take care of myself, I'm going to gain weight. Yes. So I struggled with having to lose the weight, and it took me a lot. And then I would see my ex-husband always taking care of himself. But then the same thing too, he wouldn't be like, hey, let's go to the gym together.
No, he was taking care of himself and nurturing himself.
Exactly. Yeah. And then like, she's over here being fat, struggling and trying to lose weight, and I'm over here doing it on my own, you know, and not knowing how to properly eat, and just straight up, when I'm telling you, when I struggled to lose weight. It was a freaking battle. And it was also, like I said, not learning how to properly eat, not learning how to properly exercise.
Huge thing.
So it took me years. It took me years until my 4th pregnancy, when I had that conversation with the doctor. I had lost all my baby weight from my 3rd pregnancy with my son. With my son, I was the biggest. I went up to like 40 pounds.
Wow.
Huge.
How tall are you?
5'2".
Oh, yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
And my son was big too. He was like almost 8 pounds.
Okay.
So I gained, and then obviously I ate. I wasn't eating the best either.
Right.
So I gained all this weight. So I remember and then that was when I had my cancer scare after with my son. So after I had my son, I noticed that there was just something weird. Like after I had him, previously I had 2 pregnancies before him. Mm-hmm. So I had all this weight gain. And then with my son, when I had him, I lost like 20 pounds. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not normally me. Like I normally don't lose weight this quick after having a baby. Like something's up.
Okay.
And then I just let it go. I was like, okay, maybe this time is different. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like within 3 months after having him, that's when this weight gain just hit me. Like I gained massive amount of weight. Like I went from like maybe like 160 around that, and I went up to like 200 pounds like within a month.
So you lost drastic weight and then gained drastic weight.
Yes.
Okay.
I gained it. And then I would notice I was in the medical field. I remember telling my mom, I think, or my grandma, like, damn, I just bought these medical scrubs like literally like a few weeks ago, and these shits are fitting me tight. Like something's up, you know? And my mom's like, no es nada. A lo mejor, like, you know, it's normal. Like, you just had a baby or whatever.
I feel like Mexicans aren't used to it.
Yeah, like, they're not. So I happened to go back to my OBGYN to, like, get back on birth control and all of that stuff, right? And I had been seeing her for years, this particular OBGYN. Okay. And every time I would go, you know how when you go to OBGYN, they don't give you physicals. You're just there for a pap smear. You're just there to get birth control, and bye, you're done. Have a good day.
Yes.
But this particular OBGYN, every time I would see her, she would literally give you a full physical.
That's awesome.
And she saved my life, like literally. So that day I went for my physical to get birth control, and she was like, you know, checking me and stuff like that. And she's like, did you notice that you have a lump on your throat? And I was like, no. And she's like, yeah, honey. She's like, you have a lump on your throat. Go to your regular doctor, you know, have them check you. It's probably your thyroid. Maybe it's a little bit off or whatever. That was like the first time I've ever heard anything about thyroid.
Okay.
So then I end up going to my regular doctor, because when she told me, that's when my mental noticed that I had a big ass goiter in my throat. Okay. I didn't even notice it until after they told me, which is weird, right? Like, you don't notice shit until somebody points it out, and then you start like, oh my God, wait, I do have a big old lump on my throat. Like, what the heck? Yeah. And then when I would swallow, you can't see like that lump, you know? Wow. So I ended up going to my regular doctor, and I was like, hey, you know, I went to my OBGYN. She said I have this lump. Like, and she's like, okay, well, let's test your blood first. And I was like, okay. So she tests my blood. She calls me like a week later. She's like, it's weird. She's like, your blood work came out normal. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, so what, are you going to give me like medicine or something? She's like, oh, no. She's like, we need to figure out like, why do you have this lump? So she's like, we need to send you to a biopsy, blah, blah, blah. okay, I ended up going to the biopsy. That very same day, the doctor called me and they were like, you need to come in. Like, your results are like that you have cancer. And I was like, what the heck? So with that, that happened. And then I had my surgery. But that triggered for me to be like, I need to be healthy. Like, I feel like, honestly, me getting thyroid cancer, because thyroid is part of your hormones. It controls a lot of your women hormones, like your endocrinology system and stuff like that. To where I look back, I was a teen mom, getting on birth control such a young age, not healthy eating from a very young age. I feel like all of that had a lot to play with it, because if you ask doctors, why do we get thyroid cancer? Nobody knows. They don't know why you get this, but it happens. It happens to men and women.
Okay.
But I think it's how you're eating, like the way that you eat, not eating healthy, eating all these fatty foods, and I'm being overweight. I'm a teen mom. Like, all those hormones I feel like it just threw me out of whack, being a teen mom, up and down, and getting yourself on birth control, off of birth control, and then you're having another kid. And I just feel like I threw my whole system off. I don't know. That's my own theory.
No, but that makes sense. And your body, right?
Yeah. So then I had that, and I think that's what triggered for me to be like, okay, yeah, you need to take care of your health. Okay. So I, after having my son, and then when I had my thyroid removed, all the weight literally fell off, like, without even me trying, because obviously that was the reason why I gained weight, because I had the hypothyroid, which it makes you gain weight.
Okay.
So the weight came off. I was super happy. And then I just continued to just start taking care of myself, like exercising. I still wasn't eating the best. I was still eating like once a day and killing myself at the gym, not having the proper, and my weight would always fluctuate up and down. I would gain weight, lose weight, gain. And then when I would gain, I would gain. I wasn't gaining like 5, 10. I would gain 20 pounds, 20, 30 pounds. And I would struggle to lose those 20,
So you were
pounds.
Still into the gym, but your eating wasn't
the best.
What it should have been.
No.
You were either overeating or starving yourself.
Yes.
So that kept the up and down weight.
Up and down.
And I definitely relate to that, because when I first started really taking my fitness journey, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would starve myself. And then especially with my career, it's hard for me to get in breaks, and I tend to work back to back.
Yeah.
So I realized that once I started educating myself, and I'm still learning, I'm still new in this lifestyle, like, consistently.
Yeah.
I'm going on my 3rd year, right? So I'm still educating myself, but I definitely learned that my first year, where it's kind of like you're starving yourself. I'm not letting my metabolism do what it should be doing. And it's having smaller portions throughout the day.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I still try my best to eat in the morning, but I'm not the greatest.
Yeah.
And that's when I feel like it's the most important, because you get your metabolism going, right?
Yeah.
So, I understand what you're saying. I think a lot of women actually think that it's easier to starve themselves. No, I'm not eating.
It's literally the worst thing you can do to yourself.
Yeah,
you can do to yourself, because that I needed, and it took me a lot of years to learn that. So when I got pregnant with my 3rd one, after losing all that weight with my 3rd baby and going through the cancer and all of that and losing the weight, I got to a point where I was happy with. I got skinny. I was skinny. I was out of my goal weight. So when I got pregnant 6 years later with my 4th pregnancy, I was like, damn, I did all of that. And then I know I'm going to gain weight with this 4th pregnancy. I know that's my body. I'm going to gain weight. Mm-hmm. So at that time, I had a whole new OBGYN.
Okay.
And she was the very first one that she was like, keep doing what you're doing. Like, keep going to the gym, keep eating healthy. Like, nothing, you shouldn't be stopping what you're doing just because you're pregnant. You shouldn't be overeating. You shouldn't be eating all this food because you're pregnant. She's like, no, that's wrong. If you're lifting weights, continue to lift weights. Wow. If you're on the treadmill, stay on the treadmill. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do
she's
that.
The first one that kind of educated on it's
staying
okay
fit.
As opposed to what you're used to, which is eating for 2.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she kind of installed me. She's like, no, continue to do what you're doing. If you're going to the gym and you're working out, if you're lifting weights, she's like, just keep doing that.
Okay.
You shouldn't stop doing that.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So I put myself to the test. I was like, all right, you're going to test yourself. I was like, I had my treadmill in my room.
Uh-huh.
I worked out every single day when I was pregnant with my 4th. And then you can see the difference. I think I posted it in my social media compared to a pregnancy where I wasn't really physically active and not taking care of myself the way I was eating. Because, you know, when you're pregnant, and I think I talk about this with my clients, that when you're pregnant, you do everything to try to stay healthy when you're pregnant because you're growing a baby inside of you.
Right.
So why don't we continue to do that after you're pregnant?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So then with my 4th pregnancy, I was like, okay, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to continue to eat what I'm eating. I'm going to exercise every single day. And I did. I jumped on my treadmill every single day. I would work out for an hour and I would go to the gym, whether I was working out inside of my house, going for a run in the park with my kids, or going to the gym. I continue to do the exact same thing.
Stayed active
through the whole thing. And the bounce back was so quick because you can see from the difference from my pictures being pregnant from the other one with the 4th one, my stomach was so tiny. Okay. Like I even physically look like I'm fit, you know? So I was like, yep, this is a game changer for me.
Okay.
Like I just need to continue to do what I'm doing, exercise, eating well, and my bounce back was good. Like I didn't gain a lot of weight and I didn't feel like I needed to lose a lot of weight. But then I still, even though after I had her and I was fit, I went back to my old ways. Like, oh, okay, I'm fit. I can eat good. And I got comfortable. And then boom, the weight spikes because I have hypothyroid. It's so easy for me to gain weight.
Okay.
So if I don't check myself or don't take care of myself, that weight is going to creep up on me.
Okay.
And this is why I tell people, like, if you don't have thyroid issues, why are you not checking yourself?
Right.
You know, because when you do have thyroid issues, I know a lot of women can relate to me that when you have hypothyroid, it is so hard to stay in shape. And it takes years for your metabolism to kind of just do its thing. And it also has to do with your medication. Like if you don't have a good endocrinologist that is constantly checking your levels, making sure that the medication is working like it should be, it affects your metabolism and your weight. Absolutely. Okay. I learned that because the same doctor that I had when I first had my cancer, I kept her and I still have her till this day. Wow. But there was a time where I needed to change her because of insurance's reasons.
Okay.
And when I changed my endocrinologist, the other endocrinologist was like, I don't know what the hell she was doing, but my body was out of whack when I was with her.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? Forget her. I'd rather pay cash to continue to keep my old doctor because she's keeping me right.
Right.
And I would always communicate with her. I'll be like, Dr. Tran, like, why can I not lose these 15 pounds? You know what? Let's regulate your medication a little bit.
So it was about finding the right
levels
for you and levels for you.
Okay. Yes, because when she would either change my levels to either lower or higher, my body would feel that shift. And for some crazy ass reason, I would gain 10 pounds.
Okay.
Every single time. And I would always tell her, I hate that you change my medication because every time you change it, I gain weight.
So that's a huge factor.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. That's like the biggest factor for me.
Okay.
The weight gain.
Okay.
I can't control it. Now I can because I've learned what works for me and I learned the dosage that works for me. And I communicate with my doctor and I tell her, like, I like to be in this dosage. Yeah. You know, like, keep me here.
Okay.
But if something's off or whatever, obviously she'll change it if she needs to. And then I just be more conscious with myself. Like, okay, she changed your medication, you got to be strict with yourself.
Okay.
Make sure you stay in a specific plan to where you do not gain those 10 pounds.
Right. So that taught you, I feel like that taught you so much, right?
Yeah.
And so you getting into fitness, how did it bring you into wanting to help women in fitness?
Yeah. So where that came in was, you know, after having my twins, my body changed dramatically, you know, as far as like the loose skin, because I already had 4 previous pregnancies, like my doctor told me at the time, because my twins were big. They were 6 pounds, 10 ounces each one. Both weighed the exact same weight.
Okay.
6 pounds, 10 ounces for twins is massive.
Yes.
Because twins do not
They
get
usually
that
are
big.
under, yeah. They're
Like
usually
4 pounds, 5 pounds. I remember the doctor kept telling me, prepare yourself. You're going to have your babies early. Like they come early.
Yeah.
My babies were full term for twins.
Oh, wow.
I kept them full term and they were both 6 pounds, 10 ounces.
Healthy.
So imagine how my stomach was massive. It was huge.
Okay.
So I already had loose skin with my previous, but with this last pregnancy, it took me to a whole different level.
Okay.
My skin was so stretched out with my twins that whatever I did, like it was not gonna,
wasn't gonna snap back.
No, of course not. Like, you know, these people that comment and they say like, oh, she got work done. This is the reason why. Like, do you know what I've been through?
Now we know. Now we know what she's been through.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then there's not one single workout in the world that is going to remove loose skin.
Okay.
Like, that's where people need to fully educate themselves that no sit-up in the world is going to remove that loose skin. Like, there's
it's
just
elasticity
no way.
That's been stretched out that doesn't go, it doesn't retract back.
Yes.
Right?
Like, even when I was a kid, when I was so overweight and I lost all that weight, I got loose skin because of that alone.
Yeah.
And then now when you get pregnant and you get heavy and super heavy, I'm not talking about 15 pounds heavy, I'm gaining 30, 40 pounds with each pregnancy.
Every time.
Massive weight.
Yeah.
You know, so your skin is just stretching everywhere. Your arms, your boobs, your stomach, your legs, everything.
Okay.
You know, so with my twins, I kept the same thing. I kept super active, even though I was considered high risk. I was like, what can I do? I told the doctor, like, I have to work out.
Yeah.
Like,
give me something.
Give me something.
Please.
And he was like, you can't. He's like, you're high risk. There's just no way that you can work out.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, what can I do? And they were like, well, just check your eating. Make sure you don't overeat. Stay healthy with your eating. And he was like, you can just walk. And that's what I did. I walked so much.
Okay.
And at that time, I would work I was a phlebotomist at the time. So what did I do? I got creative with it. I would walk up the stairs, down the stairs. Like, if I worked at a building that had like 6 levels, I wouldn't take the elevator. I would take my ass to the stairs. You know, I would take my breaks and I would tell my coworkers. If my coworkers are watching me, I would tell them, like, let's go exercise. Let's go.
You said let's go.
Yeah,
you were the one.
Them, like, let's go. I was like, let's go walk up the stairs. Like, I was crazy. I would put freaking ankle weights on my ankles and I would work out. And then my doctor's office was really close to my job. So instead of me getting in my car to drive, I would wobble my ass over there because I was so big. I got ginormous with my twins to where even walking was very hard. Okay. But I would still take my ass. Worked.
You were still active.
I was still active. I worked till
there was no excuse for
you. Zero.
I love that.
And that pregnancy was the hardest thing ever. It was the hardest physically, because it comes to a point to your 3rd trimester with the twin pregnancy. Imagine you were a mom with a single baby. Mm-hmm. Your last trimester is extremely hard with one baby.
Yeah, I was ready to just come out. Please.
Yes. Now imagine with twins.
Wow.
Your organs are literally all the way to here. I would sleep sitting down, like, no joke. Just like how you see me sitting down here, that's how I would sleep with my twins. Like, no fucking joke. I would just have a shitload of pillows here and I would like sleep sitting down because I just couldn't sleep anymore. I couldn't eat anymore. Wow. Because your organs are so smashed up. Mm-hmm. And then the funniest thing with my twins, I wouldn't crave junk food, which was like, thank the Lord, because I think a lot of women struggle with all these cravings when you're pregnant. Yes. But I honestly think that it's all mind. It's all mental.
For sure.
It's literally mental.
Yes.
So with them, I didn't crave, even if I ate, for example, if I had like a craving of wanting to have like ice cream for a weird reason, I would throw it up. Like anything that had to do with sugar, I would just eat it and it would just come back out.
Okay.
So it was really hard even to have meals when I was pregnant with them. Towards like the 2nd, 3rd trimester, I couldn't really eat. Like if you see pictures of me, I look so skinny. Like my face is so like sucked in. Also, when you're pregnant with thyroid, I think a lot of women don't know this, that your thyroid levels, your babies take everything. Just like how they take all your vitamins, they eat up your thyroid. And I didn't know that. So that's why when I was pregnant, I needed to see a specialist, because having thyroid, your levels need to be at a certain level when you're pregnant. So I'm taking like 150 milligrams when I'm not pregnant. Okay. When I was pregnant, I went up to like 350 milligrams of thyroid. Wow. Triple. Like double. Because your babies can come out with like mental issues if your thyroid is not regulated. Wow. So my thyroid and my OB would always need to be communicating, making sure that the babies were good. I was good. The thyroid levels being checked like every 2 weeks. Like it was very like a lot for pregnancy. So my stomach was literally out to here. After having them, like I had such a massive like extra skin to where I was like, this is not me. Like this is not, I don't like my body like this. Yeah. Like I'm over here always taking care of myself, wanting to bounce back after I have a baby, because that's what I like for myself. It's not even for my partner, my husband, whatever. It was literally for me, because I have a vision for myself. I want to look a certain way. Yes. having this extra skin, it is not me.
Okay.
Like, I was like, I need to do something.
Okay.
Exercising, getting back into my pre-baby weight was my goal. I did that. And then I was just not happy with all this loose skin. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do something about it. So I started researching into a tummy tuck.
Okay.
You know, looking into that, wanting to do that. Found my doctor, went through that process. And even before that, though, I still needed to lose weight because the doctor that I chose was like, you need to be at a certain BMI. And I was like 20 pounds overweight.
Okay.
So that was like my goal to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to. Because once you pay that deposit, they're like, if you don't get to your goal weight by the time your surgery, like you lose your money.
Wow.
And then you got to reschedule.
Okay.
So I was like, fuck that. I'm not rich. Like, I was like, I am not fucking rich. I was like, I need to, you know, a lot of people think that if you want something, surgery is not cheap.
No,
you know,
and it comes with not only financially, but it comes with a lot after too.
Yes, a lot of
care.
Yes, a lot of post care.
Emotional
you have to pay
too.
for that. Emotional. You have to pay for someone to take care of you. You have to pay for all this medication. It comes with a lot of financial, like, responsibility.
Yes.
I don't know if that's like the right word. Like, you have to save up. You know, so. If I had the money, I would have done it a long time ago. But
it's truly an investment.
It's an investment.
Yeah, in every single way.
For sure. Yes. So I was like, I want this. I'm going to save up for it. I'm going to get the money. I'm going to get there and I'm going to do it. So I did it. And the girls, I stood at a recovery home because I had my surgery in TJ. I found the best doctor ever, Dr. Omar Jimenez. He literally gave me the body of my dreams.
Okay. So say that again.
Dr. Omar Jimenez.
Because you look incredible. And I personally wanted to ask, who's your doctor? Because you look absolutely amazing. He did a great job.
Yes.
So thank you for letting us know.
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Omar Jimenez. But I did my research though. When I wanted to have this done, I searched up so many doctors. I did so many consultations here in the United States and California. And I kept going back to him. I was like, the style of his technique on how he does surgery, because I'm very like detailed. I don't know if a lot of people are like that, but I'm very detailed oriented to where I pay attention to detail.
I think people need to be more like that, especially when they have surgery done to their body, because this is a procedure you're getting done.
And you're paying for it.
Exactly.
And you're investing.
And it's to change you and modify the way you look and enhance you and make you feel better. And if you don't pay attention to the details and the surgeon, and if you don't do your research, they can actually botch you. That actually is the opposite of what you paid for.
Exactly.
Right?
And then you got to invest more money.
Exactly. So my thing is like, in any surgery, please make sure that you really do your research. Take your time. Just because you're excited and you maybe have the money and you're like, oh, this is where it's at. Take your time, do your research. Having surgery is not just it's not something that you can just, I have the money, let me go do it. It doesn't matter who it is. It's your body.
Yes, it's your life.
It's your life. Yes. There's a lot to it.
Yes.
You know?
So, and then you get a lot of stigma because, oh, she had surgery in TJ. You can go to any other country in the world and they'll still kill you. They'll still botch you. You'll still have something. Even here in California. You know, I've had my own experience. And here in California, too, you can find doctors that are not going to do the best work for you.
It's literally about doing your research on who is best, who would fit you best and what you like. And like you said, the details, right?
I paid attention to detail. I pay attention to how he would suture these women up. I would pay attention to the belly button. I think the belly button like was the biggest thing for me.
It's the biggest.
I was like, I don't want my shit to look black.
Yes.
I don't want my shit to look botched.
Yes.
I don't want my stomach to be like this in my
and
belly
the belly
button
up here.
Over
Yes, I agree.
No, I paid attention to detail and I literally followed him for 2 years.
Okay.
2 years and a half. But I kept saying, like, he's going to be my doctor. He's going to be my doctor. But I was, like, still not 100% confident because I thought to myself, okay, I need to go out there and explore, like, what's out there, you know, like, what other doctors out there? Because, you know, a lot of people would tell me, like, are you really going to go to TJ and do it?
Right.
Like, people die over there.
Yeah.
Like, people this, people that. Like, you should maybe look for a doctor here. So I was like, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe I should look for a doctor. But my vision was, like, I'm going to look for a doctor here that does his style of work. I'm sure I can find someone. I did not find anyone.
Okay.
And then the doctors that I did find here, I would be like, okay, I'm just going to that person because they're in California, not because I really love their work. Okay. But I'm going to them because it's a safety thing because they're in California and I should be okay.
Right.
So, but then I knew deep down inside, like, I don't want that person to do my surgery, you know? So what I started doing, like I told you, did my research. I reached out to a lot of women that had surgeries with them, with him.
Okay.
A lot of girls wouldn't respond, but I'm thankful for the ones that did respond because they gave me really good feedback. You know, they gave me good feedback and it made me more confident. Like, yeah, he's my doctor. You know, like I want him to do my surgery. And then obviously DMing him really helped a lot too. DMing his staff was really good about me always asking questions and they would respond back to me and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And then I ended up just like, yeah, he's my doctor. Like I felt it. I was like, I feel like I'm in good hands. I don't know. Nobody in my family has ever had that type of surgery. So I was literally going blindly and just going by what people said and me watching his work.
And then you having that feeling that he's the one.
That he's a one. And also doing, you know, one of my family members that live in TJ, she is in the medical field too. When I brought it up to her attention, she was like, oh, she's like, we can check his license. She was like, just like you check in California, if the doctors are board certified, she's like, there's a way that we can check as well. So she was like, let me check for you. She's like, let me do my research. Let me find out if he has any like negative stuff about him or whatever. So she did that and then she brought it back to me. She printed out that he was a board certified physician and that he was a new plastic surgeon, but that his work spoke for himself.
Okay.
You know, and I was like, yeah, that's what I see. She was even like, God damn, I want to have surgery with him too. Shit, like he does a good job, you know?
Okay.
So that kind of also gave me like the green light, like, yes, he's my doctor.
Okay.
And I was so nervous as shit. I remember having like a massive panic attack the morning of. But then once I got there and I met him in person, I felt like at peace, like, yes, he's my doctor. Like, I'm going to be good. Like, you're in good hands, you know? So, yeah, like I had my surgery and then like that day, like 24 hours, I think, or a couple hours after you wake up and stuff, or I think it was like the next day that they come and they change your like your wraps that you have. Once I saw my stomach, I was like, oh my God, it looks so bomb. Like it looks so good. And I was just so happy because I knew
and that was right after, right?
Soonest, so instant.
Wow, okay.
Instant gratification. Like you can see that instantly. And obviously your body goes through so much changes with recovery and stuff like that. But the instant, like I just remember telling like the girl that was in the same room with me, I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. I love my results. Like, I'm so glad I did this for myself. Like it was for me because I knew like, because I didn't have my surgery after like 3 years after I had my twins.
Okay.
So all those 3 years I'm over here battling with losing weight, getting in shape, thinking that me going to the gym is going to remove this. Like that was crazy for me even to think that, but I did it, you know, because people are telling you this.
Yeah.
And then when I did it, that's when, and I stood at a recovery home like for a full 10 days. That was the best thing to do. And I know my friend Roxanne that I met there, I remember telling these girls like, watch, I can't wait until I'm fully recovered because I'm going to take my gym to a whole nother level. Like I'm going to take my body to a whole nother fucking level. Because if you see how my body looked right after surgery, can't compare what I look now. Okay. You cannot compare. I look 10 times better than what I look like after surgery. And even my doctor, sometimes he'll watch my lives or he's on live and I'll jump onto his live and he'll tell like the viewers like, I did Gloria Zamora surgery. Like she is a perfect example of what you women should be doing after. Like we're going to help you get there. We're going to remove your extra skin, but then it is your job to maintain it.
It doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop there. Like it's literally, you want the skin removal, they're going to remove it for you. You want lipo here, there, whatever. They're gonna do it for you. Now it's your job to take care of that investment, take care of it, and take your body to the next level. Right. And that's where I'm at. I really just took this shit super goddamn serious, and I struggled. Even though, like after having my surgery, I tell a lot of these girls that within that first year, because I was at my goal weight, my mindset wasn't like, oh my God, I need to lose all this weight now. Even though I had a tummy tuck and lipo. Now my goal is to lose weight. No, get to your goal weight, lose all the weight, have your surgery, and then your next step should just be, let me maintain it. Because a lot of women will have surgery thinking, let me get the skin removed, but then in reality, your BMI is not the best and you're probably overweight. And then you have this surgery and you're still not happy with what you look like. So get to your goal weight.
Yes.
Have the surgery.
Yes.
Because that's just an added bonus. And then now you just have to maintain it after.
Yeah.
So the girls that were in the recovery house, they're going to recall me telling them, like, damn, I can't wait till I'm fully recovered because I'm going to take my whole gym life to a different level. And I have.
Okay.
I have. And that's where, I've always been thick and curvy, and also the type of surgery that I had too, that a lot of people don't realize, that I had a tummy tuck 360 where they cut you all around. That's literally like a mini body lift.
Yeah.
They're lifting everything. They're lifting your thighs, all this loose skin, because I didn't just have loose skin here. When you're pregnant, you have all this weight, like you have loose skin everywhere.
Okay.
Has this been my body frame my whole life? Yes. Have I been thick and curvy? Yes. Have I been someone that's never really been like a big panza? I never had a really big panza. I've always been small from my mid-waist, and I've always wore a faja. Like I've always taken care of myself.
Always had
I had a small waist all the time. Obviously when you have all this extra skin, it doesn't look as small, but before I had kids, this has always been my body frame. I've always been thick and curvy. I've always had an ass, but you can't compare when my exercise routine back then before I had surgery was literally cardio, not really a lot of weight training that I do now. Back then it was like I would go on the Stairmaster for 40 minutes. After that, I would jump on the treadmill for another 20 minutes. And then after that, I would do a HIIT training
it was all cardio.
And then my ass would still go sit my ass in the sauna room for like 15 minutes. Like,
okay.
Is that going to build me an ass?
No.
Is that going to build me some legs? Is that going to, fuck no, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My whole thing was like, I want to be skinny.
Yeah.
So after I had that, that's when I took my fitness journey to another level. And I recovered. Even though I was good to go to work out, something in me was like, you're not fully recovered from the inside. I think you should just take your time with it. Because I was you just have like, I think it's also like the whole Hispanic, like, because I had a C-section with my twins.
Yeah.
To where they tell you like, ay, te cortaron so many levels. Like you have to like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like just because you're just out of having a baby 8 weeks, you think you're fully recovered. Hell no. My grandma would always tell us like, oh, your bones get separated, blah, blah, blah. It takes you a whole year to recover after having a baby. So I think I always had that mindset. So with my surgery, I was like, I'm going to fully take care of myself for a full year. I wore my faja for a full year.
Wow.
For a full year. And I'm talking about
you
every day.
Consistent.
Every day. I don't care that it's 100 degrees outside. You're going to catch me with my fucking faja.
And it paid off because, girl, there is a non-existent waist. It paid off for sure.
I wear my faja, and I still do. There's days where I still throw on my faja, or if I'm feeling bloated.
I mean, I see you working out with it sometimes.
Yeah, I wear my waist trainer. Yeah. Always have something that's going to snatch. I love being snatched. There's people that love to be snatched. Like Karina from Glamour is always like, damn, bro, you love to be snatched. I'm like, fuck yeah, I love to be snatched. Yeah. But yeah, I always wore my faja and still wear it. I still wear a waist trainer. And if I'm at work, I'll wear it. If I'm at home, I'll wear my waist trainer. If I'm working out, I'll wear it. There is times where I take it off because I just, maybe the day or there's times where I wear it all day and I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it breathe and I'm just going to work out freely without it, but I stay fajada for sure.
Okay. So let's clarify this. The only surgery you've had is just a 360 tummy tuck
with lipo, the arms and lipo to my back.
Okay.
Yes.
Other than that, you haven't had anything else?
No, I've always been nalgona. My hips are natural. A lot of people think that I did shit to my hips, but that's just natural. Like I was born that way.
Because I'm sure people look at you and they judge you and they think that you have a BBL.
Yeah. That I have a BBL and my hips are fake and I don't even have BBL scars. Because if you have BBL scars, like you have the scars underneath your butt cheeks or you have them on top, I don't have that.
Right.
I don't have that. The doctor literally just cut me and lifted all that skin up. And, I can post pictures of what it looked like because obviously I have a picture where they took where I was in my stomach so that you can see the back because obviously they need to lipo and then they did a whole 360 tummy tuck where they cut you literally all around.
Right.
They cut me all around and then kind of like a V shape to the back. Okay. So I have a picture of that. So and I'll post it one of these days. You cannot tell that he did that. Okay. So I've always had a big ass. And that's why a lot of people that know me, like, they'll say it, like, she's always been curvy. She's always been thick. She's always had an ass. The only difference that back then was all cardio compared to that now that I'm like fully into weight training has done wonders for my body. And that's where I kick myself in the ass that I should have been doing that a long ass time ago.
Right.
Because back then when I wanted to weight lift, I've heard so many people tell me, you don't want to weight lift? You're going to look so manly.
Yeah.
You already have thick legs. You're going to look so like muscular and like manly, you know?
They don't.
And it's such false information. Now the girls that I sign on and they tell me like, I'm going to weight lift. Like, is this what I'm doing? Yes, babe. Like you are.
Yeah. And it's not going to turn you or make you look like a man.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to look like a man.
Yeah.
Unless
it's actually going to build you, tone you, and give you a body.
Yes. I noticed that I have less cellulite. I noticed that my ass is less saggy because I noticed that back then, like, you know, I have pictures of that and I'll post it when I feel confident to post it because obviously that's not the best of me. You know, like I don't like that version. I don't like what my body looked like. With clothes, if you talk to family members and when I chose to have a tummy tuck, they would be like, what the hell? You needed a tummy tuck? You don't even look like you needed any work done. Like you look good. With clothes on, I looked good. Because I knew how to dress myself.
Yes.
You know how to dress
We know
yourself.
how to cover. We know what to wear to...
You know what type of pants to wear to kind of like hide imperfections, whatever. Like I knew how to do that.
Right.
You know? So you can't compare what my body looked like when it's just physically cardio compared to now that I weight train.
Okay.
So I took my weight training. And then little by little, like the first couple of videos that I started posting on social media, I started noticing that I started getting like a lot of like views and like good attraction. Even though in the beginning it was a lot of more men attraction compared to women, but it was getting views. And then I would tell my daughter like, hey, I can do something with this. Should I post more? Okay. And I still was like not really thinking that it was a thing. I was just posting, getting views, getting a little bit of views, nothing crazy. Until one day, my daughter kept telling me, Mom, like, you should post on TikTok. Like, post on TikTok. Like, post your workouts on TikTok or whatever. I'll never forget. This was like, it was on July 4th, I think, like maybe 2022 or something like that.
Oh, recently?
Yeah, recently. Okay. So in July 4th on 2022, I remember I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to post on TikTok. I'm going to post my workout there. And that very first video, like, got massive views. And I got, like, I think 10,000 followers within that one post. Wow. And I was like, holy shit, I can really do this. But it still wasn't, like, like, really thinking that I can really take this to another level. Okay. You know? So I just kept, like, I got excited. I was like, oh, my God, then this is where I'm at. I'm going to start posting. But for me at that time was posting for me to post, but little did I know that it was giving me confidence, like my personal confidence, not so much about what the viewers were telling me. It was more like me really looking at myself and being like, holy shit, like you really look like this. Yes. Like, because you don't see yourself. You can see yourself in the mirror, but when you're recording yourself and taking pictures of yourself, you're like,
it's totally different.
Yeah, I remember telling one of my friends, like, damn, I am that girl, like, shit, you know? And she'll be like, yes, you are. Did you not know? I'm like, fuck no, I didn't. I didn't know that. I think
it's hard for women to look at them. All we look at is the imperfections. And I could do this. I could look like this. Maybe if I did this. We don't really look at the progress until... And I definitely can relate to that too, because I'm noticing my body change as I'm going, and it went from like, I'm doing it for my mental and this and that, but now I'm doing it and I'm seeing my body transition. And it's kind of like, I can change my own body if I consistently stick to this. And it's about knowing what works for you as well. And it's learning your body. And I'm learning that about myself as well. So I can definitely relate to you. And, you know, I'm still learning fitness. And you just in this conversation taught me so much. But I'm learning myself. It's literally about learning my body, learning the foods that are good for me, learning what I can and can't eat, learning what, at my age especially, because we can't just eat anything.
No.
I grew up in a Mexican household where hot sauce was a huge factor. And now I can't really eat that. So it's learning what you can and can't eat. And incorporating new things into it.
Yes.
As well as workouts.
Yes.
I can do certain workouts that maybe other people can't do.
Exactly.
And things of that sort.
Yes.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah. So I was like, I would see myself in a different lens for sure. I started seeing myself like, oh, damn, you actually really do look good.
And it gives you confidence.
Yeah. And I started building like my own self-confidence.
Love that.
And then I started using like the gym at that time to like kind of really give myself like that self-love. Like I would go to the gym and work out, pero a lo pendejo, like a lo menso, like no structure, like, you know? Until I started like really diving in and getting this attraction where I was like, okay, if you're gonna post, you need to know your shit.
Yeah.
Like, you need to learn how to work out, and you need to do your research, and you need to eat good. Like you need
be
to
intentional. About
be intentional about it.
Sure.
Like you can't just go to the gym and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna work out and do dumb shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I started being more structured with myself. Like, okay, you're gonna work out like this, and this is what you're gonna do today, and I would write it down, and then I would be like, okay, now I really have to eat. Like,
like it kind of keeps you on track.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would put myself again, testing myself. Okay, if I eat still that time, I was still eating like once or twice, once a day.
Okay.
And then still not really gaining the progress that I was looking for, you know? And then there was a time even after having my surgery where I kind of just got comfortable and I gained 20 pounds, like no joke. I gained 20 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And just let myself go. You know, I really just kind of got comfortable. Not that I let myself go. I just kind of got comfortable thinking like, oh, I look good. I had my surgery.
I think everybody has that, right? Like after the surgery, they think that because they had, like you stated, we had the surgery. So I feel like I don't have
I can take a little break.
Right.
I was like, let me take a little break.
You learned that wasn't it.
No, yeah. I remember going to my endocrinologist for a regular follow-up, and I don't see her, like, I either see her every 6 weeks or sometimes she'll push me out for like 9 weeks or like 3 months or so. And I remember it was like a 3-month mark, and then I went, and then she was like, what happened? Like, you literally gained like 20 pounds. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I was even like, damn, did I really? Like, I was so like, what the hell? The scale is telling me that I gained all this weight. And she's like, and you did your surgery and you did this. Like, what was the whole point of that if you just gained it all back? And it was that moment right there. It was like she grabbed me and she slapped me. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was literally check of reality where I was like, she's right. I invested money. I invested time. I invested pain. I invested time away from my family to stay in this recovery home, pay for it. For me just to gain it all back, like, what the hell are you doing?
Okay.
So she was like, I want to see you in 6 weeks and you better like do something about it. And I did. I was like, yeah, next time I come for my 6 weeks visit, I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to be down either 15 or 10 pounds. I'm going to make this shit happen.
Okay.
And I did. I put myself in a regimen. I put myself in a calorie deficit because that for me was like the most fastest way. But this is what I tell a lot of girls. If you're going to do a calorie deficit, just know that is just a kickstart for you to lose weight. That's not something that you can maintain forever. You cannot be in a calorie deficit thinking that you can maintain that for years after years, or thinking, for me, it should be like a 3 to 6 month type thing. 6 months is already pushing it.
Which would make sense because you're trying to lose weight.
You're trying to lose weight. But then you're not building muscle.
Correct.
Because you're not eating properly. You're calorie deficit. So I was calorie deficit, but a lot of people use calorie deficit thinking that, oh, I'm calorie deficit, but I can eat a burger. I can have 2 slices of pizza because it's a calorie deficit. Right. You know,
They think that it's just basically whatever the calories are that they have to intake, that's what it is.
I'm going to eat 700 calories, so that means I can eat a
burger. And that's all I'm going to eat all day.
Hell no.
I don't think they understand that not only does that mess up your metabolism, but it's not reaching, you're not going to lose weight like that. That's what I learned.
You're going to gain it all back.
Exactly.
You know? So I put myself in a calorie deficit, drinking a gallon of water every single day and exercising. I don't even think I did it no more than 3 months. I think in a month, 2 months, I had already dropped all that weight.
Okay.
And then I'm exercising 5 times out of the day, 5 times out of the week. And then when I was on a calorie deficit, the meal that I had was high protein, low carbs, low fat. Like I knew that I needed to do that. So like that when I get back to eating 2-3 times out of the day, I needed to maintain the high protein, low carbs, low fat. That was the only way that you can maintain. I knew that me being in the fitness already installed in me for years, or me diving into it more strictly, I knew that I needed to put myself in a path to where I was eating properly, so that when I stop my calorie deficit, I'm eating high protein, low carbs, low fat. And that's what I did.
Okay.
So then from there, it just snowballed of me just maintaining. After I lost the weight, I went back to my doctor. She was like, okay, yeah. She's like, you're good. You lost the weight. That's good. You know, because my whole thing was like, I don't want you to change my medication. Like, because I know that shit's going to mess me up and it's going to make it a lot harder for me to lose weight.
Okay.
So we had a plan, and she was like, all right, I need you to lose weight. If not, we're going to have to change your medication or whatever. So then I lost the weight, and then from there, just like snowballed into me like wanting to post more, because at that time I was getting a lot of attraction into social media and stuff like that, and people really liking the whole fitness thing. But still at that time, it was a lot of more male engagement, you know?
Okay.
So what happened when I got more into training into women, even though I had already put myself in a structure, knowing how to eat, how to properly exercising, and putting myself in that example, like I'm going to test myself, let's see where it takes me. And then seeing my body transforming, because now I'm going harder into fitness.
Okay.
That's when this opportunity came up, where my friend Emmanuel reached out to me because he saw my page. And I think at that time, I probably had like 70K followers at that time.
Okay.
And he reached out to me. He was like, hey, have you ever thought about like training women? And I mean, fitness has always been my passion, because that's always been my routine. Even when my kids, if you ask my kids, my older kids from when they were little, has always been my routine. Go to work, come home, cook, clean, and then take your ass to the gym at night.
Okay.
Like that's been my routine for years, for years.
Okay.
Fitness, you would always see me working out all the time. Like even with my 16-year-old, I would tell him there was times where I would be on the treadmill and I would put you to sleep when I was on the treadmill. And my son's like, no shit, you would really do that? I'm like, hell yeah, ask your dad. I would put you to sleep while I was on the treadmill working out, and then I will call your dad, hey, come and get him, because he went to sleep.
That's dedication.
No,
right there.
literally. It was literally fitness dedication to the fullest, but my eating was crap.
I hear you.
And I had to learn that.
And I think a lot of people are like that, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah. So fitness has always been my thing. I've always worked out, always stayed at the gym. The people that know me the longest, they know like, yeah, this girl stayed at the gym for years, you know? And that's what a lot of people don't know. Like a lot of my followers don't know that I just didn't start this shit 3 years ago. This has been my lifestyle. Yeah, this is a lifestyle. Yeah. You know, I've always gone to the gym. My routine has always been this. I've always, for years, been a person that goes to the gym at night. Like this is my routine for years, over 20 something years. And going back to that, so he reached out to me. He's like, hey, have you ever thought about like, you know, using your own personal experience on how you were able to stay fit and help women or help moms or whatever? And I was like, oh my God, I've always wanted to do that. Like but I just didn't know like how to start. So he planted the little seed. Yes, he planted the seed. And then around that specific time, which was like 1.5 years ago, that's when my whole second marriage started falling apart, because obviously I'm like dedicating time into fitness and trying to grow something, and seeing even the opportunity or even thinking that this can even become something, you know? So people started getting insecure and not allowing me to thrive in something that I'm just so passionate about, you know?
Okay.
So I felt like that person was just holding me back. And, you know, I decided to end my second marriage. And that's when a lot of the problems started to were bringing me down mentally, talking about like, yeah, you can't do that. Like, what are you thinking? Like, what do you think you are? You think that you're this fitness influencer all of a sudden? Like, you really think you can do that? So it's like, when somebody wants to test me, or como se dice, como retarme, que te reten.
Yeah.
You know,
they want to challenge you.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't challenge me, because I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, for real. I think that has always been my life. You know, when people used to say, like, you're not going to amount to anything because you're a teen parent, and You already went through one marriage, failed marriage. Like, you're nothing. Who's gonna want you with 3 kids? Like, nobody's, you know.
You like to prove people wrong.
Hell yeah,
constantly.
I'm gonna prove you wrong, because I feel like I've always needed to prove people wrong from a very young age. You know, coming up from a broken home. You know, having an alcoholic dad. My mom just being out there, a hustler, working, trying to provide for her 4 kids because the dad wasn't around and stuff like that. I just knew that I was not going to be that girl that was a teen parent and just allow for somebody to dictate my life, even though it took me a lot of years to get there, though. Because even though I'm a woman, like, I don't mind being submissive to my man. Like, I don't mind it. I love being a woman, but there's times where these men put you to act like a freaking man. And
they put you on your masculine.
Literally, yes. Sure. And I used to hate that about being in these 2 relationships. I hated that me being a woman, a lot of it, I'm acting like I'm the man in the relationship. And I'm the one that's always trying to, like, let's grind, let's hustle. Like, we were able to do this. Like,
we
I
can
want
do this.
More.
Yeah.
Like, let's go do more. Like, you and I, like, let's grind. But him and
you're in the mentality of the power couple, and we have so much more we can do.
Yes. And it's more like, settle down.
Yeah.
Like,
calm down.
You're
doing too much.
Yeah, you're doing too much. Why do you want more? You should just settle with where you have, living in a bitch ass apartment and a shithole apartment. Like, that's not me. You know, from a young age, I've always wanted more.
You knew you always wanted more.
You've
always been ambitious. You've always been driven. Ambition. Life has thrown so many obstacles at you now, gotten to know you, your life story, and getting to know you. And to be honest, I look up to the fact that you not once looked at yourself as a victim. Yes, you went through a lot of things, right?
I went through a lot,
and you overcame so many. But not, yes, and I'm sure you had your moments where you cried, which, you know, valid. And, you know, but you kept going and you didn't give up, and you still are.
I still don't give up.
You still don't give up. And you still are. I think this is your prime, where you know who you are and you know what you're capable of, and no one's going to stop that. So either you join me or get out of my way.
Yeah, that's literally me. If you're not going to join me, you're not going to support me, knowing that you see this in me and you're not supporting me, it's like, what the fuck am I doing?
It's because you have the wrong partner.
Literally.
Yeah, for sure.
It takes a really secure man to really value, like, what they have at home. Because, I mean, and everybody has, like, how we talked about earlier, everybody has, like, their life journey.
Yes.
You know, I don't think my life journey was to be somebody that can settle. Even though, like,
I agree.
Even though I feel like I wish I had, like, what these other girls had, to where they get married and their man, because there is men out there. There is men out there that they praise their women and they acknowledge how great of a woman, mom, whether you're a stay-home mom, whether you're a stay-home mom or you go out and you make money just like your husband does, but they don't treat them like shit.
They allow them to walk in that, and they support it and empower it.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't have an issue with being submissive. I think, like, us as women, but there's an extent to that. You know, there's an extent to where you can be submissive to your man. You can be in your femininity with your man. I'm okay with that in my house. If my man can put me in my femininity, I'm going to stay there. You're my king. I'm going to treat you like 100%. You are my everything.
For sure.
But the moment that you don't treat me good and you don't appreciate who I am, like, even my person of who I am, and you don't allow me to be me to my fullest, like, I'll eventually get to the point where, like, I'm not appreciated. Yeah. Because I hated that's who I am with my first marriage and this one. I hated the fact that I can be submissive to you and I can be this wonderful woman, because I'm a girl. This is my day to day. I go to work. I come home. I take care of my kids. I feed them. I clean. I'm very domestic. Like, I'll clean my household. Like, I'll make sure my shit is clean. I'll make sure that my stuff is organized.
You handle all your responsibilities.
Everything.
And some.
And all I want you to do is treat me like I should be treated.
Yes. And that's hard.
Allow me to be me.
And that's already
Don't
hard.
stop me. Don't prevent me from doing things. Or don't, I think, like, when you're in a situation like that, I hate that in the 2 marriages that I just give myself, like, completely give myself to, where I feel like there's a part where these men start taking advantage of that. I don't know,
because
if it's
they know
just
they have, it's what it is. It's like, they know they have you. and they know that
she's not gonna go nowhere.
You're fully committed, you're fully loyal, and she's not going anywhere. And I have it so good here. So they start to get comfortable, and they start to get to where they're at now, right? But then what they don't understand is that a woman like you eventually starts to see that. I think any woman,
woman, right?
Any woman, I'm sorry, any woman. Let me rephrase that. Any woman starts to notice when, and everything clicks. I'm not happy. What are they providing? What are they bringing? What are they not? It's hard not to look at the pros and the cons of, this is what I'm putting into the relationship, and this is what they're putting into the relationship. I'm not treated equally. I'm not being respected. I'm out
here hustling.
And I'm not doing anything wrong besides being a mother, a wife, and a hustler. And that's bothering you because I'm not catering you to your every need.
Yeah.
I need to be submissive in your way.
Yeah.
Not in the actual way that it should be.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Like, I'll be submissive, but you have to also feed into like the good things that I bring in and just, I think, appreciation. You know, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I was a perfect wife. Like, because I wasn't. I think like my biggest thing that I learned with the first one, I was so young. I feel like I can't even compare to that.
Yes.
Because I was so young, so naive. Like, I was a teen mom. I'm looking for protection financially, all of that, to where you kind of just throw yourself into that. You know, but with the second one, I started to learn, the older you get, that communication is key.
100%.
Like, I think that you do need to speak when you're not being treated right. There is zero reasons why us women, we hold back. And I think that's where I fucked up. To where if I would have put my foot down like the way I did in the last year and a half, I think if I would have done that like 3-4 years ago, I think this man would have been like, oh yeah, if I don't get my shit together, like, she's gonna fucking leave me.
Okay.
You know, but I don't know why I didn't have the balls to do that back then. Because there's women out there that will be like, no, you're not gonna treat me like that. Like, you know, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
And then these men will check themselves, you know, but then I, for some reason, did not have the balls to do that. I don't know why. I just didn't, you know, and it comes to, that's how I was brought up. I was brought up to where you need to be submissive. You're the woman. You need to handle everything. If your man is out here, don't speak.
Just take it, basically. Just take it.
Yeah, I think one day I was in the shower just showering, because I think a lot of people, think the most when you're showering.
It's a privacy that we have that no one can come into. For sure.
And one day I was literally thinking, why do I take so much? Why do I allow for people to just walk all over me, use me? Because it's not just in my marriage. I think like through my friendships, through like people that I come across.
So you noticed a pattern.
Yes.
That it was just overall.
Yes.
You were doing it with everyone, not just
everyone.
Him.
I kind of just allow people to walk all over me, use me. Because it was also like that with my brothers. It would come and use me, ask me for money. And I would just be like, here, like, you know, like super sweet. And like, okay, I'm going to help you because you're my family, you know, like
that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. And then one day I was just like, why do I take so much? I was like, oh my God, like you were brought up like that. Like your grandma, your mom, like they're just telling you, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I don't care. I just beat your ass, but you got to keep going. Like I just fucking beat your ass all day, and you got to get up and keep it moving. Yeah, like you're mentally, verbally abusive, and you just kind of get used to that and thinking that it's okay
and normal
and then
not.
Just one day, and I was in the show, I was like, that's why I take so much. This is the reason why.
You found it kind of clicked, and you're like, this is why I can change that.
Yes, I can change that. And I was like, no, you're gonna stand up for yourself now. Like, this is where we're at. But I was already at like, yeah, I'm fed up. I don't think there's any turning back to that. Like,
it was
this
too late
is what
for
I
him to
want.
change.
Like, I was just, and there was a lot of times that I would tell him, like, don't act like that. There's gonna be a day that you're just gonna like, you're gonna push me to my limits. Because everybody has a limit. I got there with my first husband. I got to the limit where like, this is done. I'm done. He can be crawling on the floor, begging for me, like, because he begged for me. And there was nothing that this man can do to turn me around and get back with him.
Once you're checked out, you're checked out.
So I knew that about myself. I knew that I can get to that point. And I would always tell him, if you get me to this point, there's not going to be no way impossible that I'm going to stay with you. So keep pushing me. Keep pushing. It's going to take me a while to get there, but I'm going to get there if you continue this path. Right. So, and I got there. I got to that point where I was like, I'm done. I'm starting this whole new adventure with this whole fitness, and it's giving me this confidence,
Okay.
you know, and
it's empowering you in many different ways, not just in your outer appearance, but in so many other aspects of life.
Internally, it was like empowering me. And then when I would get like these DMs, even though I had like maybe 30, 40, 50K followers, I would get like these DMs from these women, and they would tell me, oh my God, you motivate me to go to the gym. Like, I just saw your story that you went to work and you come home and with your kids and making food, and then your ass is at the gym at freaking 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like, you're empowering me. Like, you know, you motivate me to get up and do this shit. And then that's when I was thinking like, oh my God, I do a lot. Like, it started like dawning into my head. When
people started telling you what they saw of you, it's when it clicked. Like, I do. Because the way that it is like, I think we live in it, so we don't take account into our daily normal life. But when somebody else points it out, it's kind of like, well, wow, it does get you thinking.
Yes, it got me thinking.
So many things that it's probably not normal to some people.
No.
Because, girl, you told me your schedule, and we all have a routine. But you do absolutely a lot in the 24-hour spans that you have.
Literally. And I'm okay with that. I don't know why I'm okay with that. That's how I thrive. Mm-hmm. I've had people like my friend Nika. She's always constantly telling me like, girl, how in the fuck do you do it?
Yeah.
How in the hell
I think that was one of the first questions I asked
I know.
you. Yeah.
Like, how in the fuck do you do it? I don't know. I just manage my time wisely, and my gym time is literally non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know what it does for me mentally.
Yes.
I love that I go to the gym and I literally just lock in and just forget about my crazy ass work, because my job itself, me managing employees, it is not easy. Mm-mm. My job, working at a corporate job and managing 30 plus employees, is mentally distraughting.
I can imagine.
It really is. The job is very rewarding when you have employees that appreciate you and that you come in and you teach them so many things. But then there's also another side of it that job just keeps running. Like, every day is a constant work. Mm-hmm. You have investigations, patients yelling at you, calling you, telling you all this crap, talking shit to you, talking about your employees.
Very demanding.
Very demanding. Very, very demanding. So it's very mentally exhausting. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would tell this second marriage, my soon-to-be ex-husband. I would tell him, like, my job itself is already exhausting. So you adding more mentally distraughting stuff, I don't even know how in the hell I take so much. Mm-hmm. Like, I tell my kids all the time, I don't know how I'm able to be like so resilient and just keep it moving, keep taking all this crap, and unfortunately not fall like these other people to where you're not mentally okay, or you have
crazy thoughts.
Crazy thoughts. Have I been there? Fuck yeah. Have I been where I'm in my room fucking crying and having depression moments? Hell yeah. But there's just something in me that just snaps me the fuck out of it. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like my guardian angels, or I don't know. I can be in a depression mode for like a day or two, and something just tells me, get your ass up. Like, let's go. Like, let's go.
You cried it. Let's go.
Yeah, you cried that shit out. Like, get your ass up.
Yeah, it's a new day.
Yeah, it's a new day. Fuck it, you know? Mm-hmm. And then work also takes me away from like any personal shit or anything that you have going on. That's like, work is like my escape, and gym is definitely my escape.
I don't think people understand like the type of escape that it means. It's in every aspect. Yeah, I've said this before. We leave it at the gym. We leave it at the weights, right? For sure. And it's not just physical. It's mental. It's emotional. It's psychological. Literally. And you're challenging yourself in different ways that you also apply in other areas of life.
Discipline and everything.
Yes.
And I feel like I've already had that because my grandma installed that discipline in me. But I didn't think I had it this much until fitness, when I started taking fitness, because it does take a lot of discipline. Right. It takes a lot of like commitment for you to take your ass to the gym.
Oh, it does. You know, it's not motivation. People don't need to understand that. The motivation comes and goes, and it's a temporary emotion, as opposed to discipline is something that you do whether you feel like it or you don't. And it's something that it's a daily, it's in my routine. I'm going to get it in. Some people do it at a certain time. Some people make sure that they get it in at whatever time they can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have so much going on. So you have your job that you just told us about. You're a mom of 6.
Yes.
the gym is literally a lifestyle, and that requires time.
Yeah.
And you also now, like you said, your personal training.
Yes.
You have an online app for personal training.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you have online clients.
Yes.
So not only in person, I'm sorry,
Yes.
but you also have online.
Yes.
And I know you launched your fitness wear.
My fitness wear, yes.
All of this.
Yes.
All the titles, all there's so many different titles, and there's so many different things that she's doing, and there is no excuse.
No,
you're
literally.
A perfectly great example of that we women literally not only can do so much and be mothers,
yes,
okay, and be entrepreneurs and handle businesses and handle all these things, but at the same time we do it while we're going through so many things, and people, I feel like,
don't even know.
A lot of people with this podcast are really gonna get to know you and what you've gone through and what's made Gloria.
Yes.
And what you're currently going through, because you're going through the separation as we speak. Am I right?
Yes.
And I see you on social media, and I see you in person now, and it doesn't, girl, like, the fact that you're going through all this, no se nota.
Yeah.
¿Entiendes?
No, people even think that I'm going through a divorce and how mentally distraughting that is. And especially when you're with someone that is just constantly trying to bring you down and thinking that you're not going to amount to anything with me, you ain't shit. Because I got to that point where...
But what he doesn't understand is that when these men, in general, what they don't understand is that when they speak like that, it's like a fuel. I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Yes.
I don't need you.
Yes.
That's what you're not understanding. I'm leaving you because I don't need you, and I can't take this anymore.
Yes.
So at this point, you telling me you're gonna need me and you're gonna not do anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy, because do you not see what I'm already doing?
Yeah. And then also think, like, obviously, I'm not gonna tell you that I wasn't worried or wasn't scared, because you're in the second marriage and you have I have these 3 other small kids that I'm like, shit, I'm going to go through another separation. But then with my daughter leaving, my kids are going to be okay. And this is where my older kids come in, because I feel like if I didn't have older kids that already went through a first separation, that they're over here telling me, like, Mom, they're going to be fine. Like, we were fine. Like, and I think what happens with them being okay, even though my son tells me, because with my son, when we separated when he was like 1 year old, as soon as after I had him, it only lasted like a few more months, and we're out, because a baby was not going to keep me with you.
That's right.
And he sometimes says, like, man, I wish that you and my dad were together, but I get it. I get it. Like, I wish you guys were, but I understand, because I obviously didn't see you guys together. I didn't grow up seeing you guys as a couple.
Right.
So I feel like he doesn't know what that looks like, to where he doesn't feel like he had like this, to where a lot of kids have a lot of like mental trauma, to where he didn't have that. And I think what helped was that I would always communicate with them a lot, and then his dad being around, it also, I think it is mentally good for them.
Yes.
To where it doesn't affect them
for sure
so bad. So I feel like with my older kids, of me telling them, like, oh my God, am I a bad mom? Because I'm going to separate again, like another marriage. Like, oh my God, I don't want to hurt my little kids, because this is something that he would tell me.
Right.
You're going to screw up the kids. You're going to mentally mess them up. And then other people will tell me, no, the mental part is that them seeing you argue all the time.
100%.
And you not
That's
being
more
happy.
traumatic.
That is more
leaving.
traumatic.
Yes.
For sure. And then you can hear a lot of these stories where kids that grew up in that type of environment, that's what they remember.
Yes.
They remember their kids constantly fighting, their parents constantly fighting and not getting along, and using the kids in between and blah, blah, blah. Because I've caught myself doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is not healthy. This is not healthy for my kids.
Yeah.
They want to see somebody happy. So when, obviously my twins at that last year, because they just turned 8, so they're seeing all this stuff. Even my little kids were like, Mom, you need to get a divorce. Like, my little ones,
when they're noticing it,
they're like, yeah, Mom, you need to get a divorce.
Yeah.
Like,
because they're not seeing a happy home. They're seeing a home that's under one we have mom and dad, but
Yeah.
it's very unhealthy and it's
Yeah.
traumatic.
Yes.
And you're showing them like, I'm just taking when that's not really how it should be.
Yeah.
And all because you're trying to keep a 2-parent household. And like you said, you know, this is my second marriage. Like you have all these doubts that he's instilled in you, and all these things that he's thinking,
putting this fear in me. He's putting this fear and thinking you're not gonna amount to nothing. I'm the one that's done everything for you. Blah,
of course.
blah, you know.
Yeah,
so
you built me, sure.
You built me, yes. You know, like without me, you ain't shit. You know, so thankful for my older kids, because I feel like if they weren't in the picture, I think I would still be in that marriage fully unhappy, because I hadn't been unhappy for a couple years. This is not just a year. This is not just a month. We're talking about years.
You took enough until you said I can't anymore.
Yeah. Until that day, I'll never forget what that day looked like, because you get that feeling. You know, a lot of women that go through this hardship of like battling, like, should I get a divorce? But I'm not happy. Should I stay with him? Should I not? You know, stuff like that. What was I gonna say about that? There's something that just clicks in you, like, this shit is over. Like, there's no turning back. Like, that's it.
I can't be,
you know. So when, like, with my first marriage, when I've had conversations with women back then, like, how did you get there? How did you know? You just fucking know. Like, you get that deep feeling that when you're done, you're done. Yeah. And there's nothing that they can do or say to get you back. Yeah. It probably, I don't know how some of these couples honestly can put in the work and get back together. That's not me. I'm set in my ways to where, like, you, and I'm like that with friendships and with family members. You do me wrong, you're done with me. Yeah. I would literally just like the Cancer sign, to where I'll just pull myself away and you will never hear from me. Yeah. I will leave quietly and that's it. And I will see you from a distance and deuces. Like, that's literally me. Like, if you do not bring nothing good into my life and you just continue to just bring me down, it's going to take me a lot to remove myself. But once I remove myself, I remove myself forever. Forever. Yes. And that's just who I am. But yeah, you just get to the point where, like, you're done. Wow. And that's where I'm at with that one. I am currently going through not so beautiful separation, because obviously, you know, we bought a house together, we have things together, and that's where it starts to get a little bit hairy. And this is where I tell a lot of people, and I even tell him too, like, right now you're in your feelings, you know, you feel a certain way because I've been checked out, and you're like, all of a sudden you think that this was the perfect marriage, and I'm just doing this out of spite. No, I'm doing this because I'm choosing myself, and I choose to be happy, and I want to live a happy life. Like I told you earlier, I think something also first life changing for me was when my daughter moved out, to where I was like, oh my God, self-care. I need to look out for myself at the end of the day, because my kids are going to move out, and, you know, who's going to look out for me? Right. And then I'm in this unhappy marriage, and then my grandma passes away. And I just remember looking at her, like, we were in the hospital when she passed away. And then, you know, they prepare the body to take it to the morgue. And I remember just asking the nurses, like, I don't mind staying here, like, because they clean I didn't even know that they literally clean your body. Like, they wipe you down, everything. They get you prepared for when the morgue comes gets you. Like, the body needs to be clean. I didn't know that. So they kicked everybody out of the room, but I wanted to be there. You know, I grew up with my grandma. Right. So I was like, I want to see. I was curious to see, like, what they do to the body, like, when you die. Yeah. But then I also wanted to be there. Like, I don't know why. So me, and I think my daughter was there, my mom was like, yeah, like, if you want to watch and stay here, like, I want to stay here too. Yeah. And then my aunt was like, yeah, we don't mind. And the nurses were like, are you sure? Because this can be a little bit like, this can be traumatic, you know, like, not a lot of people can handle something like that. And I was like, no, I want to be here. So I remember just sitting in the chair, just looking at her and thinking, like, damn, this lady had a hard ass life. Like, she lived as a widow at, like, I think at 30 years old. Her husband was murdered with 9 kids. Wow. Her baby was like 3 months old when he was killed. And this lady needed to hustle to make sure that these kids was fed, taken care of, that they grew up to be someone in life and be responsible, because that's what she talked about. Like, I'm going to be damned that my kids were going to be losers and alcoholics or being in jail, whatever. She's like, I'm going to bust my ass for these kids to be something responsible, if anything. Yeah. She didn't care that they became anything. It was just, you're going to be responsible, you know? So I would just look at her and be like, damn, life is short. This lady died at 95 years old, which is not a lot. Yeah. And her life was hard. Yeah. And to put your life into someone else's hands to where that person is responsible, whether you're happy or not, fuck that. I'm like, I am not happy in this marriage. So little by little, something just kept telling me, like, what you're feeling is right. You're not happy in this marriage. And it's okay to get your ass out of it. Like, you've always been like this fucking thug and hauling ass.
You did it once. Why can't you do it again?
Yeah, why can't you do it again? Yeah. And you did it younger.
Yeah.
You were fucking 16 when you had a baby. Yeah. You put your ass to school. Yeah. You got yourself a fucking job. Like, you did all of this. How are you not going to do this at fucking 40? Yeah. Like, you got me fucked up. Like, I'm going to do this shit.
Yeah.
So just little by little, but I still had this fear. Yeah. You know, I still had this fear.
I think fear is always going to be there, right? It's just how we proceed to let it control us, yes. Right? Fear is always going to be there, but are we going to listen to it? Or are we going to feel it and then put it to the side and be like, no, I can't actually do this, right?
Yeah, and then I also think, like, people come into your life for a reason.
100%.
Like, I was meant to be with my first husband and with this husband. Like, I was meant to be with them.
Everything that we go through is to mold us into who we're meant to be. And I feel like hearing your story and hearing about the women in your life.
Yeah.
Yes, it came with a lot of hardship, but at the same time, you come from a lineage of strong women that are resilient, that are ambitious, that are driven.
Yeah.
And that is where you get it from.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, you keep asking yourself, how do I do it? Yeah. How? Because all your ancestors did it. You get me? And if they were able to overcome all their hardships, and if we think about it, the way I see it is, you know, we all have different circumstances, different upbringings, but they had their tough.
Yeah.
And we're having our tough, and our children will have their tough, right?
Yes.
But every generation, it gets less and less tougher, right?
Yes.
And with you, what you're asking yourself is, how do I keep going? I feel like you're breaking all the generational curses in the women.
Yeah.
And yes, I remember thinking to myself as well, my mom's single. I don't want to come from a single broken home. Like, I want to end that in my family. And then I realized there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because I'd rather be single and happy and in control of how I raise my children and what they see than to be in that two-parent household unhappy and just taking it and this is how it should be, because that's teaching them to be unhappy.
Exactly.
And we, like you said, have one life. And
literally one
we
life.
have been through so much. And I feel like we're looking at what we have been through, right? And everybody's going through their own journey, and God gives us what we can handle individually.
Yes.
But at the same time, we choose to look at that as lessons that turn us into who we're supposed to be.
Yes.
And I think you're walking in that, and it doesn't matter the age that we are in. It's what we've been through that makes us who we are, and how 100%. We look at life, right? And how we perceive it.
Yeah.
And I think we look at it as not victims, but as victors. And it's not going to be
experiences of life
that are meant for us to teach our children to not follow in the same steps in different ways, right? But at the same time, I feel like not only a purpose, but we deserve to be happy, right? And no matter what life throws at me, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to feel into it. But at the same time, I'm going to turn around and have a smile on my face and continue. It's life.
Yes.
It's life.
Like shit happens.
Shit happens. Whatever. What's next? How are we going to overcome it? How are we going to get through it? What am I learning from this? Right. But at the same time, the remainder of my life that I do have left on this earth,
I want to be happy.
I want to be happy.
I want to be happy.
I want to be happy. And if I'm not going to be loved right, it's okay. If I am alone and I'm a mom, eventually, you know, hopefully God will bring someone if and I'm okay, and that's okay. You get me? And I think people it's all about perception.
Yeah.
And it's all about how you choose to look at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course. And this is where sometimes I'm like, I tell my kids all the time and my mom, like, why in the hell did God make me a girl? Like, he should have never, ever made me a girl. I should have been born a fucking man, because I would have treated my girl like totally a fucking princess.
Yeah.
I would have been like the best dad for my kids. Like, I would be there for them. Like, if I had my women, and the moment that I saw that she was unhappy about something, like, I'm gonna fix that shit. Yeah. You know, like, And if my husband said like, oh, you fucked up here, whatever it is, we have to take accountability for that and fix that.
Right.
You know, like, I think I learned that. I think my biggest mistake is like not speaking up, because I would get so frustrated because I would do so much. And sometimes all I asked was like, acknowledge, like, you see me busting my ass.
Mm-hmm.
Help with your kids, bro. Like, that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the only thing you do, but I expected,
at least do that.
Expected that if I'm hauling my ass, you need to haul your ass too. If I'm doing all this shit, I expect to. If you see me like trying to build more, you need to be on my level. Like, that's literally a real thing.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, whether you're a man or a woman, because you can have a man. Well, yeah, because I still feel like a man should always do more. I don't know. Like, I know that there's gender roles. But if you want to have a wife and have kids with her and expect her to do all this shit, then you need to be up here. Like, if your girl's like calling,
the role needs to fit.
Yeah, you need to be a little bit more, because at the end of the day, in reality, men can do a lot more than women. Like, that's a real thing. Like, if I was to walk into a freaking room with a bunch of businessmen and I'm walking in with my 6 kids, do you think they're gonna take me seriously? Fuck no. It's going to take a lot for prove myself, which I'll get there. I'm going to prove to you that I can do probably shit better than half of these fucking men.
Instead of like a man just walks through it, we have to go and do all these things to get there.
Yes, and that's the reality of it. Mm-hmm. That's the facts of it. And it's been like that for years. So that's why I am stalling into my son, because sometimes my son will come up from, like, let's say, like, one day he came home from like hanging out with his friends or something, and I'm over here getting ready to get to the gym. He's like, Mom, like, you're really gonna go to the gym? It's like 9:00 at night and you had like this long ass day. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm still gonna go. And then my son's like, damn, Mom, like, if I
don't they see all that?
They do. My son tells me,
it's amazing when they acknowledge it, though.
Yes,
it's not,
and it's coming from my son. Okay, from my son. Not even the guy that I'm sleeping with. The husband that I have can take the moment to acknowledge, like, damn, you worked your ass off so much and you're still out there. Yeah. Like,
you're still showing up for yourself.
Yes, exactly. So my son will be like, damn, Mom, if I see you kicking ass like this, like, I need to go hard when I become a man. And I said, and I want nothing less from you. Wow, like, you need to be out there and hustling, grinding even harder than me.
That's beautiful.
Because I always tell him, you as a man can do so much more. Mm-hmm. Because if you're going to get married and have kids with your wife needs to be home with her kids and allow her to nurture and everything. Because you can't give a baby what we give. You know, you can't breastfeed. You can't do these things. So you're going to man up. Because he tells me, I want that life where I can work and my wife stays home. Okay, well, make sure that you bring that bread, because if you have a high maintenance girl, she's not gonna.
And then you're setting it up for that too. You're letting him know it depends on the type of girl that you want.
Yes, because it is a type. You know, there's different types of everything. There's types of girls that love that luxury, love good things, and love to look good and smell good and all the things. There's nothing wrong with that
at all.
You know, so when the guy gets with that girl, you know exactly what the hell you're getting yourself
and you're able
into.
To provide that.
You know, and then you want to bring her down and not wanting to have this lifestyle, or because she likes certain things and you want to stop that. That's where a lot of men fuck shit up, because you want to try to change and vice versa.
Yeah, instead of just accepting it and embracing it.
And grow with her.
Yes.
You know, the biggest thing was like, you're not growing with me. I think that's where I also saw in my current marriage that we're not growing. I want more. I want to hustle more. I want to grind more. Like,
your ambition is more than your ambition is a lot more than his.
Yes.
He's very, it sounds like, complacent and like, we reached the goal, we're cool.
Yeah.
As opposed to like,
house, we're cool.
Yeah. No, you're like, no. In my head, we bought a house, like, we could buy 2 more.
Fuck yeah.
More.
That's what I was
How
thinking.
Can we go this? Right,
yes. Like little things like that would just come in. Because again, I'm coming into life and going throughout life with zero guidance.
Yeah.
I don't have
we
anybody.
Learn as we go.
I'm literally spitting image of self-taught. Like, no joke. I'm literally self-taught and
you're
just
writing
learning
a manual
for myself. Like, literally. Nobody told me these are the steps that you need to do to get a house. Yeah. Like, you know, I just dove into it, and then when I got it, I was like, oh my God, I can buy a house. Like, what the fuck is next? Like, let's go. Like, wow. You know, this like opened my mind to other things. And that's where, when I got into fitness and then me buying gym clothes and nothing fucking fit, that's when I started telling myself, I need my own gym line. Like, I'm sick and tired of buying leggings that just do not fit my body.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't hug me right. It doesn't, or I would buy like the highest gym wear to the cheapest gym wear in Amazon, and I would be working out and that shit would tore on me because my ass is big or my thighs are big and they would rip.
Yes.
So I got tired of that, and I was like, man, I need to start my own stuff. I need to start my own gym. Okay. I would love to like start my own for, because I know that there's girls like me, and I know girls struggle with finding leggings that fit their body a certain way and shit like that, right? Mm-hmm. So then my daughter would tell me, and even my soon-to-be ex-husband, he would tell me like, yeah, you should start it, like do it, you know? Yeah. And I started looking into it. I found a vendor, and then I would have get samples. And then when my first samples that I got, I was like, hell yeah, like this is something I can really see myself doing this. That's, you know? Awesome. And then it still took me a little bit to really take the plunge. It didn't take me a lot because that's just the entrepreneur in me that I'll just fucking dive in. And I'm and the people that know me, that have been watching me for years, and my family members, I did lashes, I did clothes. I tried everything. Okay. You know, I was like, I sold kid clothes, I sold women clothes.
You've always been a hustler.
Always. Mm-hmm. Even though I had my regular job, there was always me trying to find ways where I can make more money, because my mind was like, I need to be financial free. Yeah. I hate having so many kids. You need to make money. Right. You know, if these men think like I'm just gonna have all these freaking kids and not be a provider, like you got me fucked up, because and then I'm gonna go be a fucking provider. Right. You know? Right. So that's where always my mindset has always been like, okay, if he's not doing it, then I'm gonna do it. You know? Right. And I was still like, I'm gonna be out here being a hustler, but then I'm the dumbass still trying to be like this submissive wife and still doing all this things.
They don't go.
Yeah. And
they don't go.
Little
you need
by
someone
little
to be able to feed that, not take away from.
Exactly. And it took me a lot of years. Look at how many years it took me. It took me 15 years.
It's okay. You weren't ready.
I wasn't ready, but it took me 15 years to really dive into myself, self-care, and what I wanted, what Gloria wanted, what made Gloria happy. Having my daughter move out and then seeing my grandma pass away was very life impactful for me, to where I was like, yeah, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. I want this now. And if it's not going to feed into me and what I want for my future and for my kids more than anything, because I mean, when we all grow up and we have kids, when we die, you leave all your shit to your kids. You do. You know, you want to set them up for success. For sure. So that's always been my goal. So then, I got to a point where I was like, we're growing in different paths. Yeah. This is what I want. You're not supportive. You're not helping me. Instead of you being supportive, you're over here trying to like just bring me down, tell me that I can't do this. You think you're all that? You think you're all that for you to go and work out and think that you can be on social media? Like, come on, man. Like, you're not even all that. Dang. Like, look, you have all these stretch marks. Like, really? Do you really think you're all that you can do that?
His insecurities are yelling to you. Yes. His projection is real. Yes. He's trying to bring you down so you don't leave. Yes. But what he doesn't understand is that you're pushing me more away. And you are actually making me, what is that? You're making me secure in my decision of leaving, because you are not the one for me. Yes. And you see that. And it's but you know what? I mean, Gloria, hearing your story, like I said, we all have we all go through things, but I admire you as a woman, as a mother, because anyone can be, have kids, and you're a very involved mother. You're there. You communicate. You have a great relationship with your children, and I think you're doing incredible. Maybe you don't hear it, but I'm proud of you. I see what you're doing. It's amazing. Please let us know where they can follow you on social media. Please let us know your clothing brand as well, where they can reach to you as your social media. I'm sure if they are interested in personal training or online training. So please let our viewers know.
It's mostly online training. In person would be someone that's super local. Okay. Like, local in training is someone that you live in my area. That's what I take in the most in person. I have other goals that I don't want to speak on yet, but I do have some adventures coming that's going to open more doors for all these moms, because I know a lot of moms are struggling with and needing to get back in shape. And that's my niche. That's my goal. that's where I'm passionate. You know, when I sign on a lot of these girls, a lot of my clients, they know that I'm gonna be on your ass. Like, I'm gonna make sure that you lose the weight and that you get there, and we're gonna get there together. Like, I'm on them like white on.
So you're looking for women that are 100% committed to change and that are 100% committed to what the program.
Yeah. Like, let's be, you know, I like to be fully transparent and very direct when it comes to fitness, because I take that super serious, you know, and I want people to take it as serious. But it's also because when I started my journey as far as like fitness training women, in the beginning, obviously when you start a business, everybody makes mistakes. You know, I wasn't the best. I needed to learn along the way when I'm starting a business. And I think that's the only way how you can make your business even better, when you learn from those mistakes, you know. But I also noticed that there's a lot of women that are just not there, because I've been there myself. Like, I would still eat like shit. I would still do these things, but then I wasn't really taking my fitness super serious.
Yeah.
So in order for you to be super successful with your results, you have to take this shit serious.
100%. And that goes in everything. You're eating, you're
being committed.
It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a truly, you're changing. It's not a temporary. Yes. And it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle where this is how you're going to eat from now on. This is how you're going to, this is going to be what you're consuming from now on. It's picking and choosing. And even if you go out, you're learning to, you know, pick the healthier choices, not just. Yes.
When I started my journey, I wanted to get everybody like, I'm gonna sign you on, you, yeah, I'm gonna train you, blah, 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 blah. But then a lot of these women wouldn't take it serious, and they would fall off, or they would be non-responsive.
It's like they're hyped for the moment, and then it just down.
And it's okay. Because I've been there. It's okay.
Yeah.
But for me to be successful in my business, I want to hire women that are just ready and committed.
Real change.
Women that are just sick and tired of not feeling their best, because I've been there. I've been not happy with what I look like. And it really takes you. I can give you a meal plan. I can give you a workout plan. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to check in with you every fucking day, every week, whatever it needs to take for you to be staying consistent. But at the end of the day, you are the one that's putting the work. You are the one that's prepping the meals. You are the one that's eating it. So it does a disservice for me and for you when you're not fully committed.
You're showing up, but are they showing up?
Yeah. So now I'm selective. This is why, you know, when I first got my training, you know, at the time with Emmanuel, he would tell me like, you need to be selective with who you get, because at the end of the day, like, you need to be able to go to the world and show them like your training can be successful.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. You know, my shit is simple. I'm a working mom. I'm a busy mom. I'm not going to give you these crazy ass meals that you can't even follow. I can't even follow myself. So why am I going to set you for failure when other people can make you do these crazy ass shit when you're not going to be successful? So my mindset is simplify it. It's literally that simple. It's not that hard.
People make it that hard.
People make it hard. You know you shouldn't be eating the fucking bread. Don't eat it.
Yeah.
You know you shouldn't be eating the fucking rice. Don't eat that shit. You know that you should be consistent Monday through Sunday all year fucking round.
Yeah.
And then I also tell people like, once you get to your goal weight, you can indulge in these things, because I have burgers here and there. I have pizza here and there. Like, I have my cheese Danish with coffee here and there. Do I do that shit every day? Fuck no. You know, I know that there's a time and place. If I have a craving, I'll do it. But I know that I'm so consistent in my fitness and I'm at my goal weight to where I don't have to be that so restricted. But when you need to lose weight, I'm sorry to break it to you, you have to be. You have to be strict.
Yeah, because this is something that you're starting. Your body's not used to that. So you have to.
You have to do the work.
Yeah.
You have to do the work. There's literally no way around it. You have to put yourself in that restricted meal plan. Eating 3 times a day, eating once a day is not going to get you there. Yeah. You're just going to even prolong it even more if you're eating crap.
And then let's be honest, you're messing up your hormones. You're messing up your hormones. You're messing up your body. You're opening up the door for underlying conditions, and you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
That's not the healthy way. That's very unhealthy. It's kind of like the opposite of you putting your finger down your throat and throwing everything out.
Yeah, because we have our hormones. And especially when you hit your late 30s, some women are even starting with menopause and
earlier on,
stuff like that. So if you're not eating, you're not exercising.
Correct.
All of that correlates.
Yes.
And then you have a lot of these women and men that they're in their 30s and they already have diabetes, cholesterol, heart problems. They're not they don't feel like they have the best energy to do anything.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it. You know, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it within even my own family members that they're not at the best health and they're so young. Mm-hmm. They're even younger than me.
Yeah.
You know, and it all takes, and I hope that because I know that in my family, my whole family, even though all my family really works out, I think I'm the one that has taken it to like another level.
Okay.
To where I hope that my younger cousins and nieces and nephews and all of that, they see that from me and they can take that, you know, even though they see it and they tell me, but I want you to take action. Okay. You know, take action. Yeah. You see me out here. Yeah. I'm a mom of 6 and I'm able to look like this. You have no kids. What the fuck are you doing?
What's your excuse?
What's your excuse? Right. What are you doing? Right. Because you know it's not healthy. Right. Like, just let's get in shape, eat healthy, because you know damn well how well you're going to feel. Yeah, 100%. You know that confidence is going to be off the roof.
Oh, for sure.
You know, so yeah, social media has really made me open my eyes for myself. You know, a lot of people say, like, even him, like, oh, you're posting for the men. I don't give a shit about men. I don't give a shit that it just comes with the territory. It really does. Being on social media and the way that I look, there's no, like, for example, a guy, if you look at TikTok, I think it's more on TikTok than Instagram, or maybe I'm wrong because I really don't pay attention to that, but I've seen it on TikTok more. If you see a guy that has a killer body, which if a guy has a killer body and a girl has a killer body, mad respect, because they go in there and they put massive hard work to be able to look like that. Right. You know, so in the comments, when it's a hot ass looking man with a sick body, who's in their comments?
Women.
So many. Yeah. You think a guy's unless he's gay. Yes. You know? Yes. But if he's not gay, if he's a straight man, do you think a guy's gonna be like, damn, bro, you have a hot ass body. Yeah. Damn, you're hot. Yeah. Like,
how'd you get there, bro? Let me know. Like, yeah. No.
You know, it's not guys. Yeah. It's girls. Yeah. So obviously it just comes with the territory. Sure. So many to logically think it comes with the territory. Yeah. There's nothing that you can do to prevent it.
But this is what we go back to. You need a secure man and emotional, intelligent man to understand that. Yes. Right? Yes. And unfortunately, it's not.
So I do it for my women, for me to get feedback from them, what feeds my soul. Right. Like me hearing things that I do for them, it's like, oh my God, like I can't believe I done that. Like there's times where I'll be in public places, and because I forget that I'm on social media, people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, I watch your workouts. Like you literally motivated me for you to go to the gym, and I can't believe you do it. And oh my God, I can't believe you had 6 kids. And I forget that, you know, I really do forget that. I'm just out here posting, being busy all day long, that I really don't look at those little things. Right. But until I get on these calls with these women and they tell me like what I do for them, it's the reason why I go even harder. What you do. This is why I love what I do. This is why I'm getting like so invested, so passionate about me wanting to help women, because I fucking been there.
I love that. You said that, you know, you're passionate about it. I truly believe that when you're passionate about something and you give it your all, the finances are just going to come with it. Yes. That just comes. Yeah. When you love what you do and enjoy what you do, everything else just flows.
And it just becomes really easy because you love it, you know? Right. So that feeds my soul. That feeds me to keep grinding. That feeds me to just keep reaching out and touching a lot of moms, because I feel like that's, when you're young, you shouldn't have excuses on why, or you have 0 kids as to why you're not in shape. Right. It's knowledge. Absolutely. Right. You have 0 guidance. Absolutely. Right. But nowadays you have so much access to
free information,
social media. I'm giving free information all the fucking time. Yeah. So I don't know why these younger generation that has 0 kids are not in shape. Right. You know, and then my target is with moms, because whether we like it or not, because there's women that have a baby and they bounce back like if they didn't even have a kid. Yeah. And they wouldn't even know what the struggle looks like. Right. For me, that someone that gains weight and it's a struggle to lose weight, they can't relate to me. Right. So I'm talking to my women, to my moms that truly struggle like me, because they can relate to me. I can care less that what I post, guy looks at it, or a young girl that can't relate, it's not gonna attract their attention. Right. So I'm out here grinding for my moms, because I know what that looks like, having a baby and being overweight and not feeling your best. Because that's what it is. I lived it. I know what that looks like.
And I don't think there's any better knowledge than coming from someone that's already been there, done that, gone through it, and understands. Yes. Right.
Yeah. And they need the support. You know, there's another part where a lot of these men think that oh, you had a baby, you're good. But then they don't realize that it is mentally distraughting.
Yeah,
when you're not
there's
at your goal weight.
postpartum, there's
Yes.
depression, there's
and being overweight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So support your women.
Yeah.
There's a lot of women that I get on calls that unfortunately their husband don't support them in their whole fitness journey. Because I've been there. I've been there where my husband's told me too, like, you need to chill. You shouldn't be going to the gym. I'm like, no. That's something that you're not going to control.
I mean, but if you think about it psychologically, why are they doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because as soon as you start to see yourself in a different light.
But that's what you fell in love with, right? That's where the whole... I talked about it not so long ago, because a lot of these thirsty men, probably 90% of them are married or with girlfriends, and you're out here on social media looking on girls that have killer bods.
Yes.
So why are you being a hater?
Yeah. Yeah.
Help your girl to look like that, and you'll have that at home. So appreciate that, because when you were dating her, she was probably hot as hell, had a killer body, and she felt so confident with herself. Then you have kids, and this is real shit. Like, this stuff does do something to us. If you're a woman like me, like her, like all these women that we take care of our appearance after we have a baby, it does something to us.
It does.
Whether men want to believe it or not, or if women are not there and don't feel like that, it does something to you. Physically, emotionally, it fucks with you every day. Like, I want to be in shape. I need to lose this weight. Like, I feel like it's constantly in our heads. Like, I need to get back to my pre-baby weight. And then you're struggling through this whole time.
Yeah.
And it just makes it a lot easier if your husband would be like, babe, let's go to the gym together. Let me help you out.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I know that you're struggling, man. Like, I know, like, what can I do to help you out? And then a lot of these moms want to use the excuse like, I don't have a babysitter. Girl, these gyms have daycares. Take your baby to the gym with you, because I've been there.
Yes.
And guess what? A lot of moms have this guilt about, but I'm going to take my baby to the gym so that I can focus on myself. Yes, because guess what?
Oh my God, I see that on my comments, actually.
Yes.
Where they're like, well, I'm not going to, that's taking time away from my kids. And I think that's old school mentality. Like, my mom never poured into herself, and I saw her nothing but be stressful and not be happy with herself. Like, there's so many things there is nothing wrong with you taking some time for yourself. Think about it. If you're running on E and no one's pouring into you, how are you going to continue?
Because they don't pour into you.
No, they don't. They actually suck.
Your kids are not pouring into you.
They're kids.
Yes.
We're the ones that are taking care of them and making sure that they need us.
Exactly.
Right? So it's who's going to take care of you if you don't take care of you?
Exactly. No. So take your baby to the daycare.
There's no excuse.
Leave your baby with your spouse.
Absolutely no excuse.
Leave your baby with your mom. Find a way. Because guess what? Even though if they're infants, they don't even care that you left them in the gym care.
They're actually gonna. I remember my children telling me
they would have a blast.
Yes. Can you take me to the gym? I remember. Yes. Take me to the gym. Yeah.
Because it's fun.
It is fun.
They have them coloring. They have them doing activities. They have all this playground for them.
For sure.
To where they're exercising at the same time that you're exercising.
Yeah.
So I tell a lot of these moms, like, don't feel guilty. Like, you're doing something good for yourself.
Right.
Like, I think I posted not so long ago, probably sometime last year, I was like, let me put you on a secret. Going to the gym is literally self-care time. It takes you away from your kids. It takes you away from like being in that mom
You're checked
mode.
out from everything, and your only focus is you in that moment.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that feeds so much into yourself.
So much. Once you overcome the fear, once you overcome the insecurities of people, once you overcome, I don't know what I'm doing, and you just lock in, it removes all of that. And believe me, people are not looking at you. People don't even know if you're doing it right or wrong.
No.
They don't. Everybody's there for their own purpose. You get me?
Literally, everybody, all the moms
Gloria,
are there.
Thank you so much for coming on to Horizon Podcast again. And thank you for letting us in on your life and what you're gone through and what you're currently going through.
Yes.
And I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is there
Thank
anything
you
else that you'd like to share or anything?
I just want
any
to
advice
be,
or
like,
anything?
a message to all the moms. And this is where, like with being in the divorce, that's why I always post. Like, I don't know if you've seen my post where I'm like, always look out for yourself. Always make sure that you pour into yourself, because you just never know where life is going to take you to where shit just shifts. And then you and you're stuck in a position where you're like, you don't feel confident about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, but I think like if you always pour into yourself, making sure that you always take care of yourself. So when these life situations happen, you shouldn't think less of yourself. Like, you got this. Like, this is why
you have that confidence
you have
to
that
continue
confidence.
moving forward.
And life isn't over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, life continues. You make the best of it. It's absolutely true that we make choices at the end of the day. Like, either you choose to be in an unhappy marriage and that's the life that you want to choose because that's just who you choose. And if you choose that, then that's all you know?
Yeah.
But I'm going to damn sure I'm going to choose myself, and I want to be happy, and I want to die when I'm like 80, 90 years old and think back and be like, yeah, I had some hard ass fucking life, but I damn sure made sure that I always looked out for myself, and I made sure that I made choices to where Gloria's going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. And more than anything, my kids are going to be good.
And then when you are in your deathbed, you know that you lived your happiest life after you overcame all that.
Yes.
And you fought for that.
Yes. And I fought for that. I want to make sure that if I die tomorrow, at least I fought for myself. For sure.
So it'll be in a different circumstance of what your grandma passed away in.
For sure. And I want to instill that in my kids. So,
beautiful.
You know, so always look out for yourself.
For sure.
Always protect yourself, protect your aura, yourself, your self-love. Like, never, ever. I think life has shown me to where, like, never, ever, ever stop watching out for yourself.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my message. And if you guys want to train with me, you guys can look at my Instagram. I think I post all my fitness training through Instagram, which is Gloria Zamora with the AAA at the end. And then I have a TikTok. I'm starting to go a little bit more into TikTok, but I think it's a little bit more of the fashion and fitness on there. Okay. So that's Fit by Glow. I do have a YouTube, which I want to start pouring into, where I want to, that's where I want to show more of my day-to-day.
Kind of
what does it look like, a vlog,
right?
Show what it is like to be a mom with kids and doing all the things.
In the day of in the life of Gloria.
Yeah, day of life of Gloria with a mom. But obviously I still need to tackle, you know, this divorce and kind of get a lot of stuff out of the way so that I can structure myself a little bit more and pour into that a little bit more, because obviously I do have a lot going on, you know, in my personal life that we need to deal with that.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes.
This was episode 19 with Gloria Zamora. And thank you guys. Let us know how you like this on the comments below. We appreciate you guys listening or watching. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.